The young man just executed a fundamental sword draw, yet it left the director utterly astonished because a novice shouldn't possess such proficiency. I employed an advanced technique, flash step, prior to swinging the sword. More significantly, just before the flash, I identified the bully's most vulnerable point and struck forcefully, shattering their defense. The entire sequence transpired in less than 0.25 seconds, a feat even the director, with 15 years of experience, couldn't accomplish. It's incredible for someone newly awakened with no prior combat experience. Executing a warrior's move with such skill is impressive. This world blends magic and demons, allowing everyone to awaken various professions via the 5 elements. In my past life, I led the Divine Legion, the top team of awakened warriors, featuring the electric assassin An Li, the lively mage Han Xiaoling, the galaxy conductor Lucian, and myself as the river system holy swordsman. A traitor also left a lasting mark on me. Today is my 10th year leading the team, and our mission is to eliminate the SSS level demon king, Bell. This is the 100th high-level demon cave we've faced. This mission is called the LG Purge mission. Though L level is the toughest, once we finish it, we can enjoy a short break. With perfect teamwork, I used 10 Directions Annihilation, and finally beat Belphegor. Yet the team felt a bit unsatisfied, surprised the demon cave was so easy. Lucian quickly reminded everyone to stay alert, as it's odd for such a simple task to need our whole team to clear the cave. I agreed with Lucian. The intel mentioned this Demon King was unique, with 5 elements and hidden skills. Just then, delicate hands hugged Anle from behind, asking if we were planning a group meal during our short break, or if I was inviting him alone. I quickly pushed him away, deciding we should all meet at our usual spot in the Holy City. I then asked my teammates, "Isn't that guy keeping up with us?" Lucian said he was behind, cleaning up after the fight with Belphegor, but we were all used to it. That guy always lags behind, and he's usually the best at slacking. Suddenly, Han Xiaoling's head was pierced, and he died instantly, without a scream. This caught everyone off guard, and as I tried to turn, I realized I couldn't move. Then, a familiar voice whispered that for the past month, he'd been mixing paralyzing powder into our breakfasts. As he finished speaking, the divine skill, Forbidden Flower of Slowness, activated, and vines bound us tightly. The dreadlocked man, who claimed to be cleaning up, finally revealed himself, aiming to kill the strongest among us. It's impossible to move forward without full prep. It's the God's will. The L-level Purge mission aims to eliminate you. Bound, we're defenseless, like lambs to slaughter at others' mercy. Vines shot at Anla and the others, but as captain, I could only watch as their chests were pierced. I angrily asked the dreadlocked man why he targeted us, the Divine Legion, who never crossed boundaries. Which God's will was this, and why were we treated this way? Hearing this, the dreadlocked man sneered, saying I was still naive. Does a god need a reason to want you dead? With those words, he charged at us with incredible speed. His arm pierced my chest, leaving me frozen. In my last moments, confusion filled my eyes. Weren't we comrades? After over 10 years, hadn't we become like family? The dreadlocked man smirked. Comrades? Family? Do you still not get why I'm doing this? Since day one, the gods have played a chess game. You've always been pawns, manipulated at will. To gain your trust, I acted with you for so long, and it's been disgusting. In the dead of night, a gunshot echoed through the building. Except for the man with dreadlocks, the entire God's Legion was wiped out. I felt so unwilling. If only I had discovered it earlier, I could have changed this tragic outcome. At that moment, a voice echoed in my mind. Let's make a deal. As the words fell, I found myself in complete darkness, wrapped in chains. Soon, a man in a suit appeared before me, surrounded by the 5 elements. I recognized him as Belphegor, but why wasn't he dead? Belphegor laughed and explained, how could an SSS-level demon king be so miserable? This is my soul space. The only dream. My country is my true life. I can sense that you are filled with hatred just like me, so I want to make a deal with you. My hidden skill is called Reversal of Fate, which can take you back to the distant past, giving you a chance to rectify and change everything. So, do you want to start over, Termite? I recall the moments with my companions over the past 10 years. How could I not want to see their smiles again? The real culprit of all this is that traitor. It was his betrayal that led to our demise. I told Belphegor that I want to start over, and I want to personally kill that traitor. and those lofty gods. This response made Belphegor quite pleased, and he promptly pulled out a blazing heart from his chest, surrounded by the 5 great elements, as a gift for our meeting. I didn't take it immediately, and asked why he wanted to deal with me and what the cost was. Belphegor didn't reply, just gave a knowing smile. When I opened my eyes again, I saw my middle school homeroom teacher, Ms. Huang. Termite, stand up. It's one thing to fool around in class usually, but you're about to transfer jobs this afternoon, and you still dare to sleep. Get to the back and stand. Looking at my young hands, I was stunned, unable to believe I had actually returned to my middle school days. Belphegor's ability is amazing. It really sent me back in time. As I marveled, Mr. Huang tapped the desk, urging everyone to focus. This world has 5 elemental powers: electricity, flower, cloud, and star, and each person can only have one element. Those who aspire for things possess the rare cloud element. Depending on how the elemental power merges with each person's body, it can be categorized into 3 main types: combat, functional, and special, due to the 5 elemental powers. Different roles have given rise to many different professions. I know that standing out among billions, as potential individuals with awakening power, you are already far superior to others, surrounded by flowers and applause from a young age. However, today is your most important day. Currently, there are nearly 100 known awakening professions, graded from low to high, as green, blue, red, and gold, and each person only has one chance to awaken their profession. Therefore, the moment you determine your profession this afternoon will decide your future status in the world. After class, as I walked around the campus, suddenly my friend, Eyeglasses, fell beside me. The one who shoved him was the school bully, Hong Shang. You all need help to awaken and dare block my way. Think you're special because you're about to awaken. To someone like me, a red quality profession awakener, you're nothing. Pressured, the bespectacled kid quickly handed over his pocket money, pleading with Hong Shang to let him go. In my past life, I remember Hong Shang often clashing with classmates. He seemed to have some superhuman gene, always causing trouble. Just then, Teacher Huang arrived. Yan cautioned Hong Shang, "This is an educational institution. Are you disregarding the regulations?" Hong Shang nonchalantly shrugged, claiming the bespectacled student collided with him, and that purchasing milk tea for his friends was justified. He murmured to Teacher Huang, "Defending students, are you? Without your appearance, you'd be dismissed from here." Teacher Huang disregarded him, assisted the bespectacled student to his feet, and inquired if he was alright. I recall Teacher Huang distinctly. He possesses a sharp tongue, but a gentle heart. Back then, after I awakened, I could help a lot. Just then, the teacher from the next class waved to remind us it was our turn for the awakening room. Mr. Wang quickly gathered the students, urging them to stay calm during the awakening to prevent injury. I recall awakenings here happen in 2 ways. Natural awakening, like Hong Changshen, usually occurs in those with strong physical traits and talent, awakening spontaneously during intense emotions. The other is through the awakening space room. Upon entering this space, emotions and adrenaline quickly catalyze, aiding potential awakenings. Since each person awakens just once and it's random, this transition is viewed as a singular chance to reshape one's destiny. When my turn came to enter the awakening room, Teacher Huang firmly reminded me to concentrate. I nodded, saying I knew. In my past life, I awakened as a Harmony Series warrior, a green quality, mediocre profession, leading to frequent bullying. Later on, I advanced to F, just in time to awaken the rarest type. I should still have core elements, but I wasn't sure what guidance I'd awaken this time. Suddenly, a mechanical voice sounded, saying the awakening system found an error and identified 5 elements. The Infinite Awakening system activated. Since my body has 5 elemental types, I can pick any element and profession as my initial career. Later, when an element accumulates enough, I can get a new random profession of that element, or upgrade an existing one. After hearing the system's intro, I was stunned. Not only can I choose the element and profession now, but I can also get new professions later. I am capable of obtaining all the various profession qualities, including the special one. The system elaborated that only the initial profession is freely chosen, while subsequent ones are determined randomly. I recalled the heart from Belphegor, a valuable gift that grants infinite awakening. The system then mentioned that after selecting the first profession, all element bars would reset. I smiled faintly, having already made up my mind. As I exited the awakening room, Mr. Huang hurried over, inquiring about my profession. I sighed and said, "Apologies, I have to disappoint you." I awakened to the lowest green quality of a Hexy warrior. Hearing this, Teacher Huang's face turned somber, but he still urged me not to give up. Even with green quality, many extraordinary talents have emerged. I didn't need his comfort, as I couldn't even imagine how strong I could become. At this moment, Hong Jiangsheng walked over, loudly mocking me, saying, "Remember, Teacher Huang, you seem capable. So why spout this useless talk? Green quality means you're at the bottom. This world is like this. The gods choose people, and they only pick the strong. The weak are just there to be." As he said this, murderous intent surged in my eyes. My previous life's death was tied to those gods. Just then, Hong Qiangsheng told Teacher Huang, "You know, right? From now on, those with a green profession can only sit in the back and listen. That's society. Without strength, background or future, you're left behind by fairness. The strong get better resources and grow stronger. From awakening, those with a green profession are meant to stay at the bottom, doing menial tasks. Do you really think hard work can turn a green quality into a genius? It's just like everyone's birth. Your future is already set by our awakeners, and the school reflects that. I recall, Mr. Huang, you're a blue profession, right? Just stay as a teacher living off public funds. And you, kid with green quality, go home early and stop wasting resources." As he finished, I crushed the cup, splattering the drink on his face, telling him to shut his foul mouth. Hearing this, Hong Qiangsheng smirked and swung his heart's thorn at me with force. In the next moment, I summoned a sword and blocked it, then activated my warrior skills. The red wall saint flew out like a kite with its string cut, spitting blood. Everyone was stunned. I couldn't believe I actually knocked back a red quality professional. Unconvinced, Hong Qiangsheng stood up, claiming it was just luck I dodged his attack. However, having seen it all, Teacher Huang knew it wasn't mere luck. He realized I used the warrior profession's unique top-tier skill, blocking the damage at the strongest attack and reflecting it back within 0.09 seconds, a move needing 10 years of hard practice to master. With this thought, Teacher Huang's expression grew even more shocked. How did a student with no combat experience on the first day of awakening manage this? At that moment, Hong Qiangsheng pulled out a bayonet, determined to beat me until I doubted my life and crawled out of school. However, he didn't know I was ready, which is why I chose this seemingly weakest profession. Judging a person's future and fate from birth is a serious mistake they realized years later. Choosing a river warrior was because its advancement grants unique qualities and powerful skills that surpass others. The atmosphere was getting more tense. Classmates watching are worried because using awakened powers for private fights is strictly banned at school. Seeing the situation, Teacher Huang quickly advised us not to act rashly, saying we might still be allies in future battles. Hong Qiangsheng angrily refused, saying this guy just provoked him as a senior, and now you're asking me to stop? Even if he kneels and begs for mercy, it won't work. I want him to understand the huge gap between the chosen and the ordinary. Hearing this, Teacher Huang thought this wasn't good. The reason for such a big difference in quality is due to different attribute bonuses. The attribute bonus for green quality is 100%, which means unchanged, while for the same profession in blue quality it's 150%. The red quality is an astonishing 200%. At the moment of awakening, all attributes of a red class are twice that of a green class, creating an insurmountable gap in strength. My friend with glasses also thinks I'm done for. Whether it's actual strength or background strength, I'm completely outmatched by my opponent. Why provoke someone stronger than yourself for no reason? Such despicable people are indeed hateful, but to struggle and survive in such a world, you must learn to avoid the trash. When you can't avoid it, you must learn to swallow your pride. Being adaptable is the key to longevity. Direct confrontation is the most foolish choice, and waiting for your command is an even greater humiliation. At this moment, Hong Qiangsheng launched a fierce attack at me, but I stayed calm, standing firm, as I had no intention of dodging. The skill was activated in an instant, and my speed increased by more than 50% in a short period. I moved as fast as lightning, and appeared behind him in a flash. Hong Qiangsheng couldn't understand how I did it. Immediately after, he spat out a large amount of blood, and eventually, exhausted, knelt on the ground, coughing violently. This battle ended so quickly that even Teacher Huang couldn't see what happened. But class president Qi Yin had a thoughtful expression. He saw that the moment I attacked from the red wall, I once again used the warrior class's unique rapid skill. Furthermore, it was the advanced form of the rapid skill. He couldn't see clearly how I easily dealt with the opponent in that instant, but he was certain that I had not only mastered the highest level of the warrior's basic skills, but also seamlessly applied them in combat. Even in that brief moment, I considered not violating the school's rules in public. At this point, the system notified me that I gained 50 points of professional experience and 50 points of galaxy elements for severely injuring a level 1 new element opponent, which was exactly as I had anticipated. Engaging in pro battles can build career experience, and beating an elemental foe can earn element points. But 50 points are too few. I need to clear some dungeons fast to level up and advance quicker. At this moment, Hong Changsheng, trembling, stood up to stab me from behind, but was halted by a firm voice. The person stopping him was the head of the junior high department, Hong Liang. He told the watching students to stop and go home early to rest, and to report their awakening obsessions to their families. The word home hit me like lightning, and I didn't notice Hong Liang had already approached me. I suddenly remembered something crucial. Since I went back 20 years, they are all still alive. On Awakening Day, something else happened that I can't let go of. With that, I left school quickly. Hong Liang, feeling ignored, got angry, turned and scolded teacher Huang to watch his students, saying they should act like nothing happened today. Moments later, Hong Liang took his nephew to the office, and Hong Changsheng's eyes were full of defiance, thinking it was just that kid's luck. I could never lose to him. Right after he said that, Hong Liang slammed the table and told him to be quiet. Do you know what that kid did? When you rushed at him, he used an advanced skill, Swift Flash. But more importantly, just before he flashed, in that split second before you made contact, he found the weakest point in your body and struck it hard, breaking your defense completely. This whole sequence used only basic warrior skills, but even after 15 years of battles, I might not execute them so well. Your fight was like a pro player toying with a max-level elementary schooler using basic moves. That kid isn't as simple as you think. Meanwhile, I am running home at full speed. If there's anything I must do after being reborn, besides seeking revenge, it is to prevent the impending tragedy, even if it means risking my life to stop it. The first thing the boy did after school was to find a way to survive his father. His father was violent and couldn't control his emotions. After he found out I was a Green Awakener, he beat me and severely injured my frail mother, leaving her paralyzed. Given a second chance at life, I'm determined not to let the tragedy repeat, even if it cost me my life to protect my mom. Recently, I awakened and rushed home, knowing that even if it meant dying, I had to prevent what was going to happen. Arriving home, I saw my mom preparing dinner. Seeing her again after 20 years, tears welled up in my eyes. I felt relieved, thinking how great it is that mom's still alive. When she saw me return, she used sign language to say she made my favorite hot and sour noodles. I held back tears and smiled, saying I wanted pickled fish today. Mom gestured we could have it tomorrow, as she made lots of delicious food today. I quickly shook my head, insisting I really wanted fish today, and asked her to buy it now. She couldn't refuse, and gestured she'd go right away. Just as I was about to leave with her, my dad, watching TV in the living room, suddenly said, "Your mom can go alone. What's up with you, kid?" You returned without even greeting your dad. Isn't today the awakening day? Quickly share your good news. With that, my father grabbed 2 beers from the fridge, saying he left work early to celebrate with me. I didn't smile and lied, saying I hadn't awakened because the process took too long and ended before my turn. Hearing this, my father's face turned grim, questioning why I came back so early. He said that in his day, even without any conditions, he awakened to a red profession, so his son should at least have a red profession too, given how hard he's working to support my education. All his focus was on me, questioning my profession. The deadly intent surrounded me, but I still said I hadn't awakened. The next moment, a beer bottle smashed on my head, and my dad's expression turned fierce. "You're just a green profession, pretending to be serious at school. You awakened as a useless profession, and a green profession will make me lose face." With that, he kicked towards my face. This was expected. In my past life, when he found out I was a Green Awakener, he felt ashamed and started a fight at home, and my mom protected me. As usual, she stood before me, but back then I was too weak and scared. That day, he vented his anger on my mom for an hour. Her leg was broken, and she suffered a head injury, leaving her mentally unstable. I hated my weakness, hated that I couldn't protect her. Now, with a second chance at life, I can't let it happen again. Though the warrior class I belong to has unique traits others don't, I still need time. I've just awakened to the lowest level, while Bai Lingsheng is a C-level red profession, far different from the red strength at school. He's got enough combat experience that even though I'm now a gold-level profession, I can't beat him. He was home early today, waiting for me, and won't stop until he gets what he wants. So I couldn't let Mom stay here, which is why I sent her out for groceries. But unexpectedly, I heard bags drop at the door. Mom was back already. I was shocked, not understanding how she returned so fast. Turns out, Mom was worried I might be hungry, so she rushed home after shopping, only to see this scene. When Bai Lingsheng saw Mom return, he immediately turned his anger on her, saying, "Look at the useless child you gave me." At that moment, memories from my past life flooded back, and I remembered hearing you were the first green-level profession to advance. Generally speaking, a profession must be at least blue and have reached level 1 to enter the advancement stage. Why did you advance so early, and directly from green to the 1 in a million platinum? At this point, my master asked why I was brought here, a place meant for death row inmates. I said solemnly, it was that earth. How could he beat my mother to death like that? With this thought, my eyes became incredibly determined, and I swung a heavy punch at Bai Lingsheng with all my might. But in the face of absolute strength, my attack had no deterrent effect because even without using skills, a skilled awakener is much stronger than an ordinary person. Ordinary folks can't take such a punch, but I must stand up for my mom. Unexpectedly, she stepped in front, shaking her head, hoping Bai Lingsheng's assistant would notice. Bai Lingsheng sighed, shut the door, and said, Ruyun, I was thrilled when I heard you were having a son. I thought the Bai family's chance to rise had come. Those two couldn't have a son, but I, Bai Lingsheng, could. The Bai family can only depend on me to bring honor to our ancestors, but why did he? The most useless green profession can't even advance. The team is all because of your lousy genes. Seeing my mom about to be hit by a bench, I panicked and quickly activated a skill, switching to a longsword to push Bai Lingsheng back. Yan Sheng warned that this person must not get near my mom. Bai Lingsheng looked at the torn clothes and sneered, exuding an intimidating aura. Surprised I dared to fight back, I gripped the longsword tightly, staying focused, and had to find a way to hold on until reinforcements arrived. Just then, Bai Lingsheng charged at me with incredible speed. I hurriedly activated the skill to reflect the damage back, but unexpectedly, the sword in my hand suddenly shattered, and a solid punch landed on my abdomen. The difference in attributes was too vast, and just one hit completely broke my defense. However, Bai Lingsheng's attack didn't stop there. He even used the skill Thunderbolt Black Lightning to add an electric shock effect to all his attacks. I quickly shielded my head to avoid nerve damage and losing consciousness, as a barrage of heavy punches rained down on me like a storm. Bai Lingsheng found it laughable that I was still struggling to hold on, thinking that such a weak profession should be overpowered by the strong. He casually picked up a nearby stool, ready to smash it down on me and my mother with all his might. Just then, there was a sudden urgent knock on the door. Seeing this, a slight smile appeared as reinforcements finally arrived. Bai Lingsheng, looking angry, opened the door to find two security team members. Deputy Captain Leon, with a stern face, asked why it took so long to open the door and what was keeping them. The inspection team's arrival puzzled Bai Lingsheng, and he gently asked the deputy captain why they were there. 18 minutes earlier, before going upstairs, I had called the security team to report that the wanted criminal Snow might be in my neighborhood, prompting them to investigate. This was my chance to send Bai Lingsheng to jail. Leon then showed a wanted notice, mentioning they had a report about Snow near this building and were searching. Bai Lingsheng laughed, claiming he hadn't seen anyone. Leon then noticed me and my mom behind him and asked, "What happened to your child? Why are they covered in injuries?" Bai Lingsheng lied, saying I accidentally fell and got hurt. I quickly explained that the injuries were caused by him. My arm was hit by a chair, my head was struck by a bottle. This was from a punch, and this from a kick. All my injuries can be assessed right now. According to Chapter 8, Article 4 of the Awakener Management Ordinance in Shendian, if the person poses a potential danger, they must be immediately detained. Detained in the Awakening prison for 15 days, the guards were shocked. They never expected someone my age to have such skills. Bai Lingsheng never thought I'd expose him, and in his rage, he almost attacked me. Chen Jinwu quickly restrained him. Leon announced his official arrest, warning that resistance would lead to control measures. Once Bai Lingsheng was taken away, the house fell silent. My mom rushed over, hugging me tightly, her sobs echoing. I was relieved to have protected her, and with 15 days I could grow stronger. I vowed never to let her be bullied again, and this beating wasn't in vain. At that moment, I got the safe key from her. Back then, he betrayed his teammates for that item, which helped him rise from the lowest level to sea level. I went to his room, opened the bedside table, and found a safe. He had kept this secret from his family. I only learned about it after he died in the previous life. With this weapon, I can try to clear the demon lair alone. Meanwhile, in detention, Bai Lingsheng begged Leon for leniency, promising not to cause trouble again, but Leon ignored him. Bai Lingsheng smiled and said, "I heard your wife is about to give birth, and my friend runs the best postpartum center nearby." Leon sternly warned Bai Lingsheng about bribing the inspection team. If caught, it wouldn't just mean detention. He advised Bai Lingsheng to rest and report to the Awakening prison tomorrow. Furious, Bai Lingsheng vowed to make me suffer once released. The sharp blade had been sitting at home for 20 years without anyone paying attention to it. But the moment I laid eyes on it, I decided to make it my personal weapon. This A-grade blade perfectly compensates for my combat weaknesses, allowing me to solo hidden dungeons at my current stage. Not long ago, I sent my father to prison, but he will be released in 15 days. Before that happens, I must become stronger as quickly as possible, so the dungeon is my only option right now. However, all the dungeons are under the jurisdiction of the gods, and only guild members can enter. The dungeons I can access are those managed by the school, and the hidden dungeons I knew in my previous life. Dungeons can appear anywhere. They are another space parallel to our world, entered through doors that appear out of nowhere. Once discovered, they are occupied by guilds.
Magical caves, teeming with mystical beasts and valuable minerals, serve as perfect venues for awakeners to significantly enhance their abilities. However, they are perilous, and generally require official inspection before a team can enter. 5 years after my previous life, reports emerged that this cave had been overlooked until a demon invasion exposed it to the human realm. Typically, an F-level cave necessitates the presence of 3 level 1 awakeners, whereas a level 1 cave demands 5. 3 level 1s, and 2 D levels. Considering the timeline, there is a 90% likelihood that this cave is F level, the most accessible hidden cave I can enter at this moment. Despite the inherent dangers and the need for a team with elemental skills to increase the chances of success, I am left with no alternative but to rapidly become stronger on my own. Upon entering the cave, I was met with a vast ice and snow expanse, likely home to cloud-type magical beasts. Nearby, a huge white bear slept, surrounded by human bones. Clearly others had been here but didn't make it out. I recognized this bear as an 8th level magical beast, the Icefield Bear, indicating this hidden cave's level is 1. Suddenly, a shadow flashed behind me, and a 2nd level bloodthirsty Linlang lunged at me. Luckily, I reacted quickly, dodging it and counter-attacking with a powerful thrust, slicing the bloodthirsty Linlang in half. This Kungwu blade is truly an A-level weapon, not even available on the market. The attributes I have now barely make up for my current lack of combat power. If I face a beast with high defense, even targeting vital points, it might take 3 or 4 hits to bring it down. I can't help but think back to when I was at level L, needing about 20 wolves to level up in the first profession, and going from level 1 to D requires 10 more levels. Suddenly, dozens of bloodthirsty Lin Langs came at me, including a level 4 bloodthirsty wolf king, likely drawn by the scent of blood. I realized they planned to overwhelm me with numbers, so I quickly jumped into action, attacking the weakest spot in the wolf pack. While these low-level bloodthirsty Lin Langs aren't a big threat, their numbers mean I must clear them fast and ensure each hit is on a vital point, using the combat experience from my past life. With high skill and basic warrior techniques, I swiftly took down the low-level bloodthirsty Linlang. Now, only the Wolf King remains. I charged at him with full force. Flashes of light surrounded him, and the kill notification rang in my ear. I got the Snow Wolf Diamond and leveled up to 12, with 12 points to allocate. I closed the notification, panting. I didn't expect to be so tired after just 20 wolves. My stamina is still lacking, and I need a dimensional backpack, or I'll miss many chances. Most magic caves are controlled by guilds, making it tough for outsiders to level up. There is an opportunity to access advanced magic caves. Joining the Divine Guild group is the only choice. The Awakener School is under the Guild group, and is used to select talent for the team. Most students aspire to become outstanding graduates and be selected by the Guild, but if they are kicked out of the team, it could mean they might never improve again. Bai Linsheng's stagnation at sea level was due to being expelled from the guild group. In comparison, my progress is not fast either, because the temperature here is too low, and the longer I stay, the more my stamina is drained, so I can only solve this in the quickest way. With that thought, I turned and ran. During this time, the noise from chopping trees with a blade drew many magical beasts. Soon, I was surrounded by them. Suddenly, cliffs exploded violently. I nodded. The noise was enough to wake all monsters, and that guy should wake up too. Just then, a giant horn came down, crushing the bloodthirsty Linlang. The newcomer was the awakened Icefield Snow, whose huge size was visually overwhelming. The Icefield Bear, in rage, would indeed be formidable. The attack was indiscriminate, and what I had to do was dodge while picking up the spoils. The system notifications kept echoing in my ears. Although the beasts were fierce, they generally lacked intelligence. This bear not only helped me attract firepower, but also saved me a lot of energy. However, to gain experience, I still had to land the final blow myself. Even with the help of the Ice Bear, I was still running low on energy, and there were many beasts present. It was time to move to the next phase. At this moment, the beasts surged towards me like waves, unaware of the countless ice spikes buried underfoot. I immediately drove my blade heavily into the ground, causing it to shatter instantly and begin to collapse. During the battle, I was constantly observing the surrounding environment. This wasn't a moving lake surface, but rather an ice bridge spanning between two canyons. In an instant, most of the beasts plunged into the bottomless abyss, and my level instantly reached 7, earning me the title 1 against 100. When facing multiple enemies, all my stats increase by 10%, and the remaining stamina is enough to handle the leftover beasts. But from the beginning, I've been pondering a question. Each lair has a leader-level lair lord, which should be something like a ferocious lion king. The commotion just now should have woken him up, so why hasn't he appeared yet? At that moment, terrifying ice magic surged toward me. Realizing this, I knew something was wrong. I was trapped. The leader wasn't asleep, but waited for the right moment, letting us tire out before coming to reap the benefits. This ice bridge was his trap. I tried to escape the spell's range, but the terrain quickly froze me to death. I never expected an intelligent leader in this low-level lair. Then, the Cloud Elemental Master from episode 11 appeared, with 2 level 10 Cloud Spirit Magic monkeys as his lieutenants. My mind raced, figuring out how to escape this deadly trap. The Golden Hand Warrior tackled the hidden dungeon solo, and upon entering, he jumped off a cliff without hesitation, because the level 1 cave's leader had unexpectedly high earth level strength. In desperation, jumping off the cliff was my only survival chance, and only by constantly facing dire situations could I trigger my profession's advancement. The advanced skills granted me the power to level up independently. Not long ago, I was tricked by the Lord of the Azure Forest, and my body was frozen, nearly freezing to death. At this moment, the Lord of the Azure Forest slowly raised a finger. The Kanglin demon monkey suddenly attacked me. At that crucial moment, I managed to break free from the icy trap and utilized Gewu to reflect the incoming damage. I summoned all my remaining energy to shatter the ice, but it significantly drained my stamina. If the Lord of Kanglin were to launch another powerful spell, it would take some time, so I needed to defeat him swiftly. Just then, the Lord of Kanglin raised his left hand, and as he clenched it, the previously enraged Icefield bear calmed down, its fierce gaze fixed intently on me, and I sensed impending trouble. The script was already restrained by Yongshi, and with my current strength, it's barely enough to deal with those 2 monkeys, let alone handle such a large number of beasts. This time, the Kanglin demon monkey suddenly attacked me, and just blocking the attack made me feel exhausted. In this dire situation, finding a chance to kill the leader is out of the question. Even basic survival is uncertain. At this moment, the Lord of the Kanglin Forest grinned sinisterly, raised his staff, and launched a storm assault at me. Seeing this, I was stunned, not understanding why his skill cooldown was so fast, but I quickly calmed down. In my past life experiences, I often faced various predicaments, and through them, I developed a sense of opportunity. Currently, I have only 2 choices. The choice was to either stay and keep fighting, but my stamina was depleted, making survival impossible, so only the second option could break the deadlock. With this in mind, I jumped off the cliff without hesitation, leaving the Lord of the Azure Forest shocked, not expecting I'd leap to my death. Meanwhile, my mom entered the room to wake me for a meal, only to find the bed empty with just a note. I said I went to a friend's house to play and would return later, but she sensed something was wrong. If I were going to a friend's, I'd definitely tell her, especially since I'd been home since yesterday. He noticed I seemed like a different person, making him uneasy. After falling off the cliff, I struggled to swim to the riverbank. When the ice bridge broke, nearly 100 magical beasts fell, but I was only level 3, meaning 40 beasts survived, so there had to be a river at the cliff's bottom, making the second option my only survival chance. However, breaking the ice again nearly drained all my strength, and the impact from falling into the river from such a height caused significant harm to my body. I was reaching my limit. The scene gradually became blurry. Worse still, I hadn't completely escaped danger. At the bottom of the cliff, a level 19 glacier overlord was still lurking. Memories of past lives with my teammates and my mother's constant care flashed through my mind. Having them in this life, I could die without regret. But recalling the smug smile of the Lord of the Azure Spirit, the disdainful look of Bai Ling Shen, and the traitorous expression of Yin Xiao, I refused to let my journey end here. Any regrets from the past life, I will absolutely not let them happen again. Having lost once and died once, I will never die again. Awake at night, I used sheer strength to break the glacier overlord's fang. Then with a swift kick, I sent it flying. At this moment, wisps of golden smoke emanated from my body, a characteristic of career advancement triggered only in desperate situations. Choosing to solo the magic cave and actively luring beasts to jump off the cliff, constantly putting myself in dire situations, was all to regain the courage I once had. In my previous life, when I personally killed Bai Ling Shen, the adrenaline rush triggered a state of mind, and now I'm trying to recapture that feeling. The system notification rang in my ears, saying I failed the profession competition due to lacking conditions, but I gained the advanced skill of a fine swordsman. My eyes lit up. Though I didn't achieve a profession advancement, I got this ultimate skill early. It was time to clear the obstacles ahead. Just then, the glacier overlord roared and charged, followed by a wave of beasts like a tsunami. I lowered my stance and swung my sharp blade, forming an energy blade that instantly wiped out the attacking beasts. Even the level 10 glacier overlord was split in half by this ultimate skill. This move cleared my fatigue and restored my stamina. My level quickly rose to 18, earning me the title Icefield Wanderer, with 100 resistance against cloud-type creatures. With reduced frost damage, it's time to face the Lord of the Azure Forest. On the way, I kept defeating bloodthirsty Linlang, gaining experience and reaching level 19. Slaying level 1 beasts felt easy, and I barely felt the cold of the once pure land. I could unleash all accumulated damage at once on a group, but only after building enough fatigue and damage, thanks to him. My stamina is fully restored now. I don't know how long I've been in this demon cave, so I must hurry back, or my mum will worry. Meanwhile, the Lord of the Azure Forest rests in a small hut, waiting for challengers, with level 10 Azure Spirit Demon Monkeys on both sides. Right then, the Forest Lord sensed a familiar aura and opened his eyes. Suddenly, the roof blasted open, and a glacier bear's corpse fell in. I watched with disdain, eager to defeat the Forest Lord quickly and get home for dinner.
I was known as the weakest warrior in school, yet I chose a mage weapon in the dungeon because I got an infinite awakening system. When enough of an element accumulates, I can pick a new random profession of that element. The Cloud Mage was the second profession I got. Not long ago, I came back strong to seek revenge on the Lord of the Azure Spirits. Seeing this, he smirked and pointed at me, and the Azure Spirit Demon Marquis quickly launched a fierce attack. However, his move seemed slow to me, and my trusty blade easily blocked the blow. With a quick backhand strike, I killed him instantly. This move shocked the Lord of the Azure Forest, who became cautious. He quickly used his staff to launch an ice storm, sending basketball-sized hailstones at me. But as an Ice Plains wanderer, I had high resistance to cloud attacks and ignored them, charging with my blade. In a panic, the Lord of the Azure Forest grabbed a magic-filled staff and ordered the Azure Spirit Monkeys to block me. But such a defense couldn't stop me. With my abilities, I used my instant flash skill to bypass all obstacles. I raised my hand and sliced off the Lord of the Azure Spirit's arm. My attack didn't stop. The Heaven and Earth Sun and Moon Slash unleashed countless blade lights on him. The sound of a successful kill notification rang in my ears, promoting me to an Earth-level river system warrior. After a series of tones, the system notified me that enough cloud elements had accumulated, and a new profession was about to awaken. Seeing this, my eyes sparkled. I had been fighting so intensely that I forgot about this, and I had no idea what kind of cloud profession would awaken. To my surprise, I awakened as a red quality cloud mage, able to switch professions anytime. Although it was only level 1, the red quality had a 200% bonus value, making its strength comparable to my current D-level warrior. I glanced at the ground where the Forest Lord had dropped the Earth-level mage weapon, the magic stone, and an Earth-level magic bullet that could hold 20 items. I picked them up, a glint of killing intent in my eyes, and switched to Cloud Mage mode. The remaining small fry were perfect for testing a mage's strength. Meanwhile, my mom stayed up all night on the couch, not having seen me all day. She looked gloomy, worried something might have happened to me. At that moment, I opened the door and walked in. "Mom, sorry to keep you waiting." Seeing me return, my mom stood up and hugged me tightly. The worries in my heart vanished, and tears welled up. I saw the food on the table had gone cold, realizing my mom had been waiting and hadn't eaten. As a son, I felt ashamed and decided to move away with my mom to start a new life in a different environment. At that time, I used this membrane bag to take out the 10 or so most valuable items, aside from the essential weapons. Then I contacted an agent to sell them all. The agent glanced at the bright red module in his hand, nodded with satisfaction, and expressed willingness to purchase them all for $800. Hearing this price, I took the module back and bluntly stated that if they didn't offer $8,000 each, I would leave. After some bargaining, I finally sold all the modules for $7,000, using the money to rent a very nice house for my mom. In the afternoon, I took him him house hunting. In his past life, he never had a good day. In this life, I just want him to enjoy it. I saw my mom really liked this house, so I rented it for 15,000 a month. That evening, we moved in, and it had been ages since I saw her smile so easily. Now that the housing issue is sorted, I've leveled up and gained a new profession. But Bai Lingshang will soon be famous, and I can't let my guard down. Until this is fully resolved, I can't seek revenge without worries. As I thought, I polished the magic stone into a bracelet, which can expand the magic range by 50%. Tomorrow, when I return to school, I can search for that thing. Meanwhile, Hong Xiangsheng emerged from the magic cave with his bodyguards praising his performance. But Hong Xiangsheng ignored his sister, who kindly offered him water, hoping he'd rest. Instead, he knocked the water away, unwilling to waste a second, and prepared for more training at the next magic cave. Now with amnesia, the level 3 galactic assassin was determined to prove in the simulated combat test who the real genius was. Meanwhile, in a high-end area, a girl with long braids looked at a list in her hand. Being an extremely rare golden quality profession, she lamented that there were no golden professions among this year's Awakeners, making the upcoming simulated test less exciting. The next morning, I overslept and quickly ate my lunch, asking my mom why she didn't wake me. She gestured, saying I was sleeping so well she couldn't wake me, and being late sometimes is fine. I smiled, realizing it's been ages since I slept so well and had such a peaceful breakfast with her. While thinking, my mom suddenly patted me, startling me. I asked, "What's wrong?" She gestured, asking if I wanted anything, like a toy or gadget. I laughed, waved my hand, and asked why she wanted to gift me something. She pointed to the calendar on the door, and Li Hua said, "Next Friday." Next Friday is my birthday, June 5th. It's been so long, and it sent a shiver down my spine. In my past life, after my mom passed away, no one celebrated it, and I slowly forgot about this day. But now, I don't really want anything because I already have what I want most. Next, I need to achieve one of my goals. Find the dreadlock guy who stabbed me and kill him. After breakfast, I arrived at the Awakeners Hall, where the gym teacher announced we'd start the tough prep for the simulated battle, reminding everyone of its importance. The Awakeners Hall I belong to is directly under the middle school division of the Divine Guild. The guild keeps a close eye on each student's progress, and the mock combat is the first chance for everyone to show their skills after awakening. It's also the middle school graduation test, streamed live. Top performers might get to join the high school division for training at the Divine Guild's HQ in the Holy and Peaceful Nation. I'm familiar with this place. It's where I met my mentor, and where the dreadlock guy was born. However, he joined the Divine Corps after me, so they never crossed paths. I need to find him now. I must excel in this assessment to join the training journey. Right now, the gym teacher told everyone to start with physical training. Everyone entered the gravity room for 10 shuttle run sets, but as they went in, I jumped out and told the teacher I didn't want this training. It was my first simulated battle, yet I questioned the gold medal trainer's teachings, suggesting they were misleading. The teacher's face turned serious and asked what was wrong with the physical training. I explained that physical fitness is essential for almost all awakeners, so entering the gravity room wasn't wrong. But shuttle runs suit only warriors and assassins who need speed and coordination. Not everyone needs this. For instance, mages who chant spells are better suited for the original house for elemental control training. Elemental control training varies for each person based on their attributes and habits. This made the teacher's face serious, and Qi Yin, the class leader, was surprised. My training method matched Mr. Dongyang's, the Divine Corps training officer. This method was new, known only through videotapes. Surprisingly, I thought like Mr. Dongyang. The teacher's expression darkened briefly as he patted my shoulder, but then he smiled, finding my training suggestion interesting. The school has too many students, making it tough to cater to each one's uniqueness quickly. The simulated battle is like a middle school graduation performance. If it goes wrong, it could ruin a student's life. As a teacher, deciding a student's future or letting them choose is a big dilemma. Hearing this, I thought deeply. My past life had a harsh family, but I was lucky to meet great teachers who helped me grow without becoming twisted. I then told the teacher this graduation performance wouldn't disappoint him. He nodded slightly and asked how I wanted to train, recalling I awakened as a Hexy warrior. I pointed to the nearby element room and asked if he could max out the element cancellation. My friends and teacher were shocked. Why would a warrior train there? I quickly explained I wanted to challenge my weaknesses to balance my abilities. Ying then raised his hand, wanting to practice element control too. The teacher sighed and said we could train as we liked, as long as we didn't embarrass him in the final assessment. On the way, the class monitor suggested sparring with me, but I refused. As I entered the element room, the element cancellation effect increased, and I was already familiar with the warrior profession. I'm still new to the battle mage role and need to get good at it fast. Plus, I must keep my ace hidden and not let others know I can get extra guidance. This school is under the God's watch and they know everything we do. Revealing myself too soon could make me a target, so it's best not to bond with classmates. Training time flew by, and before I knew it, school ended. On the way home, Glasses and Bowlcut were panting, trailing behind me. They were my closest friends in middle school in my past life, as we were all at the bottom of the class and bullied. After school, we would regularly hang out together. It was truly my only source of happiness during middle school. However, now my primary focus is on seeking revenge, and socializing would only slow down my progress. Nevertheless, I feel uneasy about Glasses. As I rode my bike away, Bowlcut complained to White Ant, "Why is he running off alone again like last Friday? Weren't we the downbeat trio?" Glasses sighed. Since his awakening, he appeared more confident. Why would a biker wait for someone on foot? Still concerned, I stopped and advised Glasses to get his lungs thoroughly checked at the hospital. Then I continued my ride home. In my past life, in high school, Glasses found out he had a serious lung disease and died soon after leaving school. Even if we're not friends now, I still wish him good health. Watching me leave, Pot Coverhead couldn't grasp why I became so distant. Jinzi thinks I've changed a lot, but I'm still me. At Shenge Kingdom's training ground, my mentor Dongyang enjoys the sunlight. I heard a new recruit in the Divine Guild is doing great. Dongyang glanced at the recruit. Did you break the record? The man with dreadlocks nodded. You're too kind, Mr. Dongyang. I'm here to report. I told my mom not to go out alone, and I'll come back earlier to buy groceries. She agreed, but I know I need to provide a safer environment soon. Meanwhile, prisoners in Awaken prison line up for dinner. The bell was one of them. With a subtle gesture, I handed some bills to the guard who nodded and whispered, "We'll let him out soon." Meanwhile, I got familiar with the process. The key to a mage's work is timing the release and recording elemental forces. During this time, I advised my companions on correcting mistakes in rescue training. Glasses Guy took my advice and got a checkup. The doctor said it was lucky he did, as a parasitic tumor had appeared in his lungs, which would grow quickly. He was advised to schedule a procedure at a major hospital soon. Cutting it out solved the problem, leaving Glasses Guy shocked. If he hadn't missed a school health checkup, he wouldn't have added a lung CT scan. He couldn't understand how I knew about his lung issue. After the checkup, he walked alone in the school building and overheard news about Hong Changsheng. Recently, Hong had used his family's magic lair to level up to 1 of 4, and planned revenge on me after school. Hearing this, Glasses Guy rushed to save himself. Though known as the weakest warrior, he could switch to a mage's obsession in battles. Even the Lord and Mammoth guarding the magic lair couldn't last more than 2.5 seconds against me. Not long ago, we hunted the double-headed master and just needed the final blow for the highest test score. Ziling, watching the battle, was stunned. It's amazing that just one layer of a canopy wall could trap the two-headed master. Even if he acted, subduing him wouldn't be easy. Plus, the two-headed master was specially strengthened. The teachers watching the live stream explained, the river-based lion was led into water, making its skills useless, while the water-based flower's abilities were boosted. With simple elemental countering and teamwork, they easily subdued a magical beast above their level. Their quick reaction and leadership were impressive, so the teachers decided the top spot in this practical battle was surely secured by the two-headed master. The whole recording will be sent to the guild, and the evaluation might get the highest score ever. Then, the live broadcast abruptly cut off, and the one who destroyed it was the angry Xiling. Without video proof, we can't earn the highest credits. At that moment, Qi Ying and I were still unaware. I mentioned his skills were key to our win. His prior training in elemental resistance let him use a skill with many variations to trap him. Xiling, looking impatient, approached and suggested we chat outside. With that, she walked toward the magic cave entrance, clearly resentful. I calmly noted, "You do realize what suddenly strengthening a D-level monster means for students in the magic cave, right?" Xiling explained she meant to strengthen Qi Yin but missed her shot. Hearing this, I let out a cold laugh. As an archer, not ensuring your aim shows a lack of skill. Next to me, Qi Ying added, "No wonder you didn't reach the ultimate effects." Hearing this, Xiling angrily pulled out a longbow, clearly embarrassed. I quickly stood in front of Qi Ying, showing no fear. Intimidated, Xiling put away the longbow and walked toward the entrance, saying the road ahead is long, and who knows who will shine after the storm. I saw the destroyed live broadcast equipment and knew it was his doing to stop me and Qi Ying from getting high scores. Now, without anyone watching, he'll need entrance permission to return after leaving. The others are quite a distance from this cave, which gives me enough time to get what I want from inside. Then Qi Yin and I arrived at the entrance of the sealed cave. I asked him to keep what happens next a secret, although even if he told someone, no one would believe it. Qi Yin was confused and didn't understand what I intended to do. Casually, I took a stone out of my pocket, the very thing I had asked Hong Changsheng for, the unsealing magic stone. I placed it on the pile of stones at the cave entrance. A dark red light burst forth, and my task was to completely release the foundation of the cave. Seeing this, Qi Ying quickly advised me to stop. Once unsealed, the advanced beasts inside would rush out, and we couldn't handle them alone. I reassured him that their powers were still affected by the seal, and I could manage it. With that, I switched to a red cloud mage, stunning everyone around, not understanding how I could still transform into a mage. I didn't have time to explain, so I told him to wait at the exit. Just then, 3 two-headed masters charged out of the cave, and I activated the elemental power master. I was known as the weakest warrior in school, yet I picked a mage weapon in the PR dungeon without a second thought, thanks to my infinite awakening system. When enough of an element builds up in me, I can choose a new random profession of that element. The Cloud Mage was my second profession. Recently, I made a strong comeback to get revenge on the Lord of the Azure Spirits. The Lord saw this, smiled sinisterly, and pointed at me. The Azure Spirit demon Marquis quickly attacked, but his moves seemed slow to me. I easily raised my blade to block the blow. With a swift and precise slash, I killed him. This decisive maneuver shocked the Lord of the Azure Spirits, making him increasingly cautious. He quickly wielded his staff to cast Ice Storm Assault, launching countless hailstones at me. However, as an Ice Plains wanderer, I possess high resistance to cloud-based attacks, so I disregarded it and charged forward with my blade. In a moment of crisis, the Lord glanced at his bag and pulled out a magic-infused staff, commanding the Azure Spirit monkeys to obstruct me. But such a defense was insufficient to stop me. With my skill, I effortlessly flashed through all obstacles. I raised my hand and with one slash severed the Lord of the Azure Spirit's arm. But my attack didn't stop. The Heaven and Earth Sun and Moon Slash unleashed countless light blades. The sound of a successful kill echoed, and I was promoted to an Earth-level River System warrior. After a series of notifications, the system informed me that the cloud elements had accumulated enough for a new profession awakening. My eyes sparkled. I'd been fighting so long I'd forgotten. I had no idea what cloud profession would awaken. To my surprise, I awakened as a red quality cloud mage, able to switch professions anytime. Though only level 1, the red quality gave a 200% bonus, making its strength comparable to my current D-level warrior. I glanced at the ground where the Forest Spirit Lord had dropped a ground-level mage weapon, the magic stone, and a magic bullet that could hold 20 items. I picked them up casually, a hint of killing intent in my eyes, and switched to Cloud Mage mode. These small fry were perfect for testing the mage's strength. Meanwhile, my mom stayed up all night, sitting on the couch, not having seen me all day. Her expression was gloomy, worried something might have happened. At that moment, I pushed open the door and walked in. "Mom, sorry for keeping you waiting." Seeing me, my mom stood up and hugged me tightly. The worries in my heart vanished, and tears welled up. I saw the food on the table had gone cold, realizing my mom had been waiting and hadn't eaten. As a son, I felt ashamed and decided to move away with my mom, change the environment, and start a new life. At that time, I used this magic bag to take out the most valuable dozen or so items, aside from the essential weapons. Then I contacted an agent to sell everything. The agent glanced at the bright red magic frame in his hand, nodded slightly, and expressed willingness to purchase everything for 800. Hearing this price, I took back the module and said I would leave unless they offered 8,000 each. After some bargaining, I finally sold all the modules for 7,000, using this money to rent a nice house for my mom. In the afternoon, I took him to see a house. In his past life, he never had a good day. In this life, I just want him to enjoy it. I saw my mom really liked this house, so I rented it for 15,000 a month. That night, my mom and I moved in, and I hadn't seen her smile so freely in a long time. Now that the housing is settled, I've leveled up and gained a new profession, but Bai Ling Sheng will appear soon, so I can't let my guard down. Until this is fully resolved, I can't seek revenge without worries. As I thought, I polished the magic stone into a bracelet, which can expand the magic range by 50%. Tomorrow, I can go back to school and look for that thing. Meanwhile, Hong Changsheng exited the magic cave, with bodyguards praising his performance. However, he ignored his sister, who offered him water, hoping he'd rest. Instead, Hong Changsheng knocked the water away, unwilling to waste a second, and prepared to train more in the next magic cave. Having lost his memory, the level 3 galactic assassin was determined to show everyone in the simulated combat test who the real genius was. Meanwhile, in a high-end residential area, a girl with long braids looked at the list in her hand. She had a rare golden quality profession and lamented that there were no golden professions among this year's Awakeners, leaving nothing to anticipate in the simulated test. The next morning, I overslept and quickly started eating lunch, asking my mom why she didn't wake me. She gestured, saying she saw I was sleeping well and didn't want to disturb me. She told me to eat slowly, that being late sometimes is okay. I smiled, realizing it had been a while since I slept so well, and had breakfast peacefully with my mom. While thinking, my mom suddenly tapped me, startling me. I anxiously asked what was wrong. She gestured, asking if there was anything I wanted, like a toy or electronic device. I laughed, waved my hand, and asked why she wanted to give me a gift. Mom goes on. Li Hua said, "Next Friday is my birthday." My heart skipped a beat. June 5th is my birthday too. So much time has passed. In my past life, after my mom died, no one celebrated my birthday, and I gradually forgot about it. But now, I don't really want anything because I already have what I want most. Next, I need to achieve one of my goals. Find the dreadlock guy who was stabbed and kill him. After breakfast, I went to the Awakeners Hall, where the gym teacher announced we would start the tough simulated combat training, reminding everyone of its importance. The Awakener's Belly is linked to the middle school division of the Divine Guild. The guild keeps track of each student's status, and the simulated battle is the first chance for everyone to show their skills after awakening. It also acts as the graduation test for middle school, and will be live streamed. Top performers can join the high school division on a cultivation journey to the Divine Guild's headquarters in the Holy Union. This place is familiar to me, as it's where I met my mentor and the birthplace of the Dreadlock guy. However, he didn't interact with my mentor and joined the Divine Legion after me. To find him now, I need to score high in this assessment and join the training journey. The gym teacher then instructed everyone to start training. The first challenge was physical training. We entered the gravity room for 10 sets of shuttle runs. As everyone entered, I jumped out and told the teacher I didn't want to use this training set. It was my first simulated battle. Yet I questioned the gold medal trainer's teachings, suggesting they were misleading. The teacher's expression turned serious and asked what was unreasonable about the physical training. I explained that while physical fitness is essential for all Awakeners, shuttle runs only suit warriors and assassins. This particular profession, which necessitates agility and coordination, is not suited for everyone. For instance, a mage's incantations are more fitting in the elemental control chamber. Every individual, owing to their distinct attributes and habits, possesses unique training requirements. These words caused the teacher's gaze to become somber, and Qi Yin, the class leader, was taken aback. My proposed training method aligned with Mr. Dong Yang's, the training officer of the Divine Corps. This approach was innovative, and he wouldn't have known it without viewing the videotape. Astonishingly, I shared the same thought process as Mr. Dong Yang. The teacher's expression darkened as he patted my shoulder, but then he smiled, acknowledging my training method as intriguing. With so many students, accommodating each person's uniqueness quickly is tough. The simulated battle is like everyone's middle school graduation performance. If it goes wrong, it could ruin a student's life. As a teacher, choosing a future for students or letting them choose is a big dilemma. Hearing this, I thought deeply. Although my family background was harsh in my previous life, I was lucky to meet great teachers who helped me grow without becoming too distorted. I turned to the teacher and assured him this graduation performance wouldn't disappoint him. The teacher nodded slightly and asked how I wanted to train. Remembering I awakened as a Hexy warrior, I pointed to the elemental room nearby. I asked if he could max out element cancellation. My friends and teacher were shocked. Why would a warrior train in the element room? I quickly explained I wanted to challenge my weaknesses to balance my skills. Then Qi Ying raised his hand, wanting to practice element control too. The teacher sighed, saying we could train however we wanted, as long as we didn't embarrass him in the final assessment. On the way, the class leader suggested sparring with me, but I refused. Entering the element room, the effect of element cancellation kept increasing. I'm familiar with the warrior role, but still a novice in the mage role. During this time, I need to quickly master it. Plus, I must keep my trump card hidden and not let others know I can get extra guidance. This school is under the gods' watch, and they know every move. Revealing myself too soon could make me a target, so it's better not to connect with classmates. Training time flew by, and before I knew it, school was over. On the way home, Glasses Guy and Bowl Cut were panting behind me. They were my close friends from junior high and my past life. We often hung out after school because we were both at the bottom of the class and bullied. That was my only happy time in junior high. However, in this life, my goal is to make revenge pointless, and socializing would only slow me down, though I still feel uneasy about Glasses Guy. Watching me ride away, Bowlcut grumbled to White Ant. What's with him? Just like last Friday, he left alone. We were supposed to be the down-and-out trio. Glasses sighed. Since that awakening, he's suddenly confident. Why would a biker wait for a walker? But I couldn't shake my concern. I stopped and told Glasses to get his lungs checked at the hospital. Then I hurried home. In the past life, during high school, Glasses was diagnosed with severe lung disease, took a break, and passed away soon after. Even if we're not friends now, I still hope he stays healthy as he watches me leave. The Glasses Guy notices I've changed but knows I'm still me. At Shanghai Kingdom's training ground, my mentor Dong Yang enjoys the sun. I heard a new Divine Guild recruit is doing great. Dong Yang glanced at the recruit, asking if he broke the record. The dreadlocked guy nodded, saying, "That's too kind, Mr. Dong Yang. I'm here to report." Meanwhile, I told my mom not to go out alone and that I'd come home earlier to buy groceries. She nodded, agreeing it's not enough. I need to quickly give my mom a more stable, secure place. Meanwhile, prisoners at the Awakeners prison line up for dinner, and Bai Lincheng is among them. With a subtle gesture, he slips some bills to the guard, who nods and whispers, he'll be out in a few days. I'm familiar with the routine now. A mage's key is timing spell release and using elemental force. During this, I advised my two companions on fixing their rescue training mistakes. The Glasses Guy took my advice and got a medical checkup. The doctor was amazed, saying he was lucky to check in time because a parasitic tumor was in his lungs, which would grow fast if unchecked. He was told to schedule surgery at a major hospital soon. This shocked the Glasses Guy, as he wouldn't have done an extra lung CT without the school health checkup. He wouldn't have added a lung CT, not knowing how I sensed an issue with his lungs. After the checkup, he wandered the school and overheard news about Hong Jiangsheng. Recently, he used his home's magic cave to reach level 4 and planned revenge on me today. Hearing this, the Glasses Guy hurried to protect himself. He's known as the school's weakest warrior, but can switch to a mage in battles. Even the magic cave's guardian and mammoth can't last over 2.5 seconds against me. Not long ago, we hunted the two-headed master, needing just one more hit for the top test score. Xiling, watching the fight, was stunned, unable to believe a single Pengchang layer could trap the two-headed master. Even if he acted, subduing him wouldn't be simple, especially since the master was specially strengthened. The teachers watching the live stream concluded. The Hexy Lion was drawn into water, making its skills useless, while water-based floral abilities were boosted. With simple elemental counteraction and teamwork, they easily subdued the beast above their level. Their quick reaction and leadership were outstanding. Thus the teachers decided the top spot in this practical battle was secured by defeating the two-headed master. The entire recording would be sent to the guild and the trial might achieve the highest score ever. But then, the live stream cut off, and it was the angry Ziling who destroyed the broadcast pro. Without video proof, we can't get the highest credits, and Qi Ying and I are still unaware. I told him his skills were crucial to our win. Only because he trained enough elemental resistance could he use a skill with many variations to trap him. Xiling, looking impatient, walked over and suggested we chat outside. After saying this, he headed to the magic cave entrance with resentment. I calmly remarked, "You know what it means for a student to suddenly enhance a D-level monster and then leave the magic cave, right?" Xiling explained he meant to strengthen Qian but missed his shot. Hearing this, I let out a cold laugh. As a marksman, if you can't even guarantee your aim, your skills are lacking. Beside me, Qian added another comment. "No wonder you missed the ultimate project." As soon as I said it, Xiling pulled out a longbow, clearly embarrassed and angry. Seeing this, I quickly stood in front of Qian, my gaze fearless, which made Xiling put away the longbow. He turned to the entrance, saying the road ahead is long, and who knows who will shine after the storm. I saw the destroyed livestream equipment, and knew it was his doing, trying to stop Qian and me from getting high scores. Now, no one can see what's happening here, and once he leaves, he'll need a permit to come back, while others are far from this cave. This gave me just enough time to get what I wanted from the magic cave. Then, Red Silver and I reached the sealed cave entrance. I hoped he could keep what was about to happen a secret, though even if he told someone, no one would believe him. Shiying was confused, not understanding my plan. Casually, I took a stone from my pocket, something I had asked Hong Changsheng for. I placed the magic stone on the rocks at the cave entrance, and a dark red light burst forth. I needed to completely release the D-level. Seeing this, Shiying quickly urged me to stop, warning that once unsealed, the high-level beast inside would rush out. Just us two can't handle it, but I told him not to worry. Their power's still affected by the seal, and I can manage alone from here. With that, I switched to a red cloud mage, leaving everyone stunned, not getting how I could still be a mage. I didn't have time to explain, so I told him to wait at the exit. Then 3 two-headed masters suddenly charged out. I didn't argue about it being unpleasant, but I didn't dislike it much either. He followed me without ambushing or calling anyone else. He just came alone, likely to test his strength against me. Hearing his plan uncovered, Hong Changsheng was furiously powerless, telling me not to let him go today, as he would retaliate if I did. Meanwhile, the bespectacled guy and Qi Yin were hiding and observing secretly, seeing me rubbing Hong Changsheng on the ground, realizing they didn't need to step in. I told Hong Changsheng that I've been waiting for him and suggested we make a deal. I could tell him a quicker way to get stronger, but he had to give me something in return. The time quickly came to assessment day. After a week of training, the simulated battle was set to begin today. Before that, the teacher reminded us that although it's a simulated battle, we're still going to a real demon cave, even if most of the cave's power has been... There are still dangers, as many monsters lurk in the cave, so act within your limits. For safety, the school has assigned top senior students from the high school department. They usually don't help in combat, but will step in if we face danger. This assessment will form teams of 4 to 5, with one senior leading 3 to 4 students into the dungeon. Students can choose to return to the first level dungeon. The first level dungeon is tough, and if you're not strong enough, it's not recommended to try it, as failing may cost you credits. After the reminder, the teacher announced that cave level selection would begin. Once all students picked their levels, assignments were made based on those choices. Those opting for the first level cave were asked to raise their hands. Yin quickly did, and Hong Changsheng also picked the first level challenge. Out of 180 students, only 8 chose the first level cave, and I wasn't one of them. When the teacher said the rest would be randomly assigned to the S level cave, I raised my hand and declared my wish to tackle the school's Earth level domain. The young man, seen as the weakest warrior in school, wants to solo the D-level dungeon, a beginner's nightmare. Everyone mocked me for overestimating myself, and the dean denied my request, saying only those awakened to D-level or above can enter. I pointed out the school handbook has no such rule, and simulated combat rules let one choose their level. The school's goal is to find outstanding talents for the Divine Guild, with standards of bravery, strength, responsibility, and talent. I then asked the dean if he was trying to deny me the chance to prove myself. The principal reluctantly agreed, but insisted the dungeon be tackled by a team. I stood firm, saying I was enough for a D-level dungeon. The repeated challenges displeased the principal. Yan Sheng said, school rules require teaming up for safety. Then, class leader Qi Yin raised his hand, changing his mind, saying he wanted to challenge the D-level dungeon too. The principal was dumbfounded and asked Qi Yin how he'd explain it to his father if he faced danger. But Qi Yin simply said he just wanted to score high. The principal was both angry and anxious. Qi Yin's family background is heavy for him. Qi Yin winked at me, hinting he was helping, but I stuck to my stance, refusing to team up and insisting on going solo. Qi Yin's face reddened with anger, asking why I kept rejecting him. The gym teacher smiled gently, saying my refusal was invalid, but entering a D-level dungeon with just 2 people was risky, and unlikely any senior would take that risk with us. Just then, a senior in luxurious attire raised his hand, willing to protect the country's young talents. The gym teacher, Xiling, was leading the team, which was comforting. Qi Ying introduced him, mentioning he nearly joined the intermediate school troop, hinting at his skills. Still, I doubted his abilities since I hadn't heard of him or the ultimate school troop. Once teams were set, the teacher announced the simulation test would start right away. In the magic cave, everything would be tracked and live-streamed with pro equipment. The teacher wished everyone would excel and make a mark in their youth. The awakening area I was in was built on a large, previously conquered magic cave. The high and middle schools share a large magic cave, with many smaller ones perfect for student trials. Most levels range from F upwards, and entering marks the start of a simulated battle. The entire battle is live-streamed, recording all actions. So, I must be careful not to show all my cards against unknown threats. I aim to enter the Spirit Domain Magic Cave because the item I need is there. Once inside, Ziling assures our safety, even in an unsealed Earth-level magic cave, as she has conquered it before with others. Hakai was curious and asked about the strength of beasts in the Imperial Extreme Demon Lair. Xiling explained they usually range from level 1 to 5, as the strong beasts in the school's demon lair are sealed, so D-level monsters are unlikely, and there won't be a boss. But don't underestimate high-level monsters. Their attack power and speed can be tough for new novices. Xiling said she'd try to find lower-level monsters for us to earn credits, and I quickly approached him. Xiling quickly told me to hide behind her, warning it could be dangerous if we startled a high-level monster. I turned and looked at her coldly. "You're too talkative. Be quiet. Stand back. I don't need your help." Hearing this, Xiling was so angry, she trembled. A rookie dared to speak to a senior like that. Meanwhile, our every move was live-streamed, with major guilds watching closely. Students who caught their eye would get invitations, and the deputy leader of the ultimate school team was also watching. I hope the leader finds this year's simulation test intriguing. A junior decided to tackle a D-level dungeon, sparking the leader's curiosity about their profession. The vice leader revealed the most fascinating part. A green warrior, deemed the weakest, daring to take on a low-level dungeon. Meanwhile, my buddy Glasses is handling an F-level dungeon. As a chanter lacking offensive skills, he seems quite vulnerable against beasts while attempting to master level 1 magic. Hong Changsheng isn't in a great spot either, being the only one strong enough to slay the beasts. But he shows no fear, determined to outdo me in this test. Meanwhile, I'm handling the D-level demon cave with ease. The beasts can't withstand my blade for more than 2 seconds, and soon, the ground is covered with their corpses. Qian looks at me enviously, asking how I do it. I explain that the monsters are sealed, and can only use half their strength, making them easier to handle. Yet Qian sees my strength, as facing multiple foes with just half my strength is quite impressive. He's still behind me. I listened calmly and went deeper into the cave, telling him not to compare, just do his best. Seeing my calmness, he warned me through gritted teeth that this is a D-level dungeon, and overconfidence leads to trouble. He tried to advise me as a senior, but I wasn't interested in his barking. I told Qian to handle the beast on the right, while I took care of the left. I knew this simulated combat tested individual ability, and the beasts on the right were lower level. Relying on Qian should suffice. This way, both of us can get good results. At this moment, Ziling, whom I had ignored, looked displeased, quietly forming a longbow. He wanted to show me the consequences of disrespecting a senior. The young man casually slew a monster, shocking the teachers watching the live broadcast. They knew I had just awakened as a Hexy warrior, yet I could instantly kill a level 1 monster with each swing. They also noticed I had the class monitor handle the monsters on the right because I observed the elemental counter relationships. Letting the class leader from the flower element handle the star element beasts earned me more praise from the teachers during the personal ability test. Having such a broad view is commendable. The physical education teacher recalled I had told him this graduation performance wouldn't disappoint him, and he began to look forward to what I'd do next. I had noticed the star element beasts mostly came from the right cave, and they were low level while being countered by Akajin's flower element. Also, mages at level 1 have a basic skill unique to their profession. Akajin's skill involves using plants to create a poison wall. For the first time in the magic cave, calmly handling stronger monsters and using walls to enclose and reduce the area to defeat them shows he has talent. At this moment, I reached the left cave entrance, where Earth-level monsters should be sealed. Currently, these low-level monsters can be managed by Qian alone. Even in front of the live broadcast, I can hide my strength and score high, though I need to find a way to avoid surveillance to enter. But then, Senior Ziling suddenly drew his bow at Qian, releasing the string without hesitation. An arrow flew past Qian at an incredible speed, heading straight into the cave on the left. Just as Qian was about to ask what he meant, Ziling quickly said he was trying to give him a buff, but missed the shot. Meanwhile, a giant beast rushed out of the cave, and upon closer look, it turned out to be the two-headed master from episode 11. Seeing this, Qian hurriedly used his magic to create a vine wall, but due to the level difference, the two-headed master quickly broke free. Seeing that Qian was about to be devoured, Ziling's eyes turned wild, knowing it was his turn to perform. However, I had already noticed something was wrong, and my skill activated instantly. I rushed over at top speed to assist, swinging my blade down fiercely on the two-headed master's face. The two-headed master staggered back a few steps. One of its heads had an eye cut out, but I still don't understand how this creature is so fast. Behind me, Zilling had a sinister look. He knew this lair very well. Although most of the Earth-level beasts were sealed, an overlooked two-headed master in this cave would keep respawning. Newly awakened recruits couldn't possibly handle such a creature, and the arrow he shot earlier was specifically to add a buff to the two-headed master, reducing gravity and significantly enhancing its damage and speed. My expression turned grave. Do I have to use all my strength to defeat this creature? I quickly dismissed this cowardly thought and instructed Qi Yin to fall back. Just then, the two-headed master charged at us fiercely. Qi Yin swiftly used his magic to cast Teng Wall, trapping the two-headed master instantly.
The first thing the boy does after school is remind his mom to always wear this gemstone. Because his violent father was just released from prison early, and this stone is the only thing that can protect her. If she's ever in danger, all she has to do is crush it, and I'll appear by her side instantly. I recently managed to get this response gem. My mage class also leveled up to D rank, and my 1 against 100 title upgraded to one-man army. Chilling also reached level 7. I reminded her not to forget my instructions and to keep everything that happened here a secret. Meanwhile, the teachers detected that the Spirit Jade Cavern seal had been broken. They rushed to the entrance but ran into Zilling on the way. They demanded to know why he was out here instead of protecting the other students. But with the situation so urgent, they had no time for details. Their priority was getting inside to ensure everyone was safe. Learning the seal was broken, Zilling let out a sinister grin. He sneered that this is what happens when you cross your seniors. But when the teachers got inside, they found me and Chilling completely unharmed. The broken seal on the cave? I'd already resealed it myself. Elsewhere, Zilling went to the vice-captain of the Ultimate Guild. He boasted that his application was more than enough to earn him the final spot. But the vice-captain just shook his head, explaining that the captain had already chosen someone. Zilling was thunderstruck, his face a mask of disbelief. He grabbed the vice-captain's arm, shouting, "You said that spot was for the most valuable person. Are you saying my skills and connections aren't good enough?" As they argued, the captain approached. She explained that she'd already found the most valuable person, and the Ultimate Guild's captain was my teammate from my past life, Anlei, and the person she'd chosen was me. Meanwhile, at a food stall just off campus, Inspector Chen Jinwu gave a stern warning to Bai Lingsheng. He told him to stop causing trouble. He'd pulled a lot of strings to get him out of jail early. He added that he had new intel. Hong Da-wei is coming back next Friday. He told Bai Lingsheng to watch his back. Slurping his noodles, Bai Lingsheng simply nodded and told him not to worry. Just then, Vice Captain Li Ang called. Chen Jinwu scoffed, saying he had to get back to the station. He told Bai Lingsheng to head home soon too. Bai Lingsheng's expression turned menacing. "Oh, I'll be heading home soon, all right," he said darkly. But when he got home, he froze. The house was completely empty. In a blind rage, he started smashing furniture, swearing that when he found us, he would kill us. I'd given one half of the response gem to my mom, telling her to keep it on her at all times. I kept the other half myself. If she was ever in danger and crushed her piece, my half would sense it, and I'd be able to get to her instantly. Without it, I could never feel safe letting her go out alone. As long as I can remember, my mom has never owned any nice jewelry. She's never had any of the things a woman deserves. As her son, I can't help but feel guilty about that. My mom signed to me, telling me I shouldn't spend my weekends hovering over her. At my age, I should be out having fun with friends. I just smiled and shook my head, telling her not to worry. I don't need that. She quickly signed back, "How can you not need friends? Everyone needs someone important in their life." Of course I know I have important people and friends. I just don't know if I'll ever see them again in this life. At 11:58 p.m., I arrived at a wild D-rank cavern. It's a hidden dungeon I know of that only opens for a short time. It appears at midnight and vanishes at 1, so I don't have long. Right now, I need to focus on getting stronger. In my past life, I became a top-tier warrior, but I was still powerless to stop my comrades from dying before my very eyes. With that thought, I summoned my blade and charged. I killed the D13 rank Bloodflower in a single strike. I remembered my mom asking why I don't make friends. Her words are a thorn in my side. What good are friends? One day, on a whim, the gods could decide to wipe us all out. That's why I have to get stronger, faster, until I'm more powerful than anyone else. The kill notifications echo in my ears, but this experience is nowhere near enough. I have to fight with everything I have. Right now, I'm too weak. I can't even beat that man, let alone the prodigy who was a golden archer since childhood. So there are no shortcuts for me. I have to face every enemy head-on.
A novice warrior tackles a D-rank hidden dungeon alone, but he never expected the dungeon to be guarded by 2 lords. Worse, while I'm locked in a tough battle, my recently released father has found my mom's new home. I have to clear this dungeon as fast as possible and rush home to protect my mom. Not long ago, I came to this hidden dungeon to level up. I channeled my elemental power and unleashed my ultimate skill, Pure Land. All the monsters blocking my path were sliced in half, and my battered body was instantly restored to perfect condition. But the dungeon entrance will close in just 20 minutes. I have to hurry and defeat the Lord. I cautiously proceeded deeper into the dungeon. Soon, I sensed a sudden surge of killing intent nearby. A monster was standing before a large tree. It was the D20 Lord Ye Wuming. In the blink of an eye, it vanished, then reappeared right in front of me. Reacting quickly, I drew my Kunwu blade. With a single slash, I cut off its incoming fist. But Ye Wuming's expression remained calm. Its self-heal skill activated, and a new arm grew back instantly. I was surprised. I didn't think a healing ability could be this powerful. Ye Wuming then plunged its arm into the ground. Countless green vines shot out from all around. Then the monsters I had killed were resurrected. I was confused. A D-rank lord shouldn't have the power of resurrection. As I was thinking, I felt a sharp pain in my stomach. I realized I'd been impaled by a spike that appeared out of nowhere. The one who ambushed me was the second lord, Si Wuming, Ye Wuming's twin brother. It's now 1 in the morning and the dungeon entrance has closed. Meanwhile, my mom is worried sick because I'm not home yet. No matter how many times she texts or calls, I don't answer. A bad feeling washed over her and she decided to go look for me. She guessed I'd gone to another dangerous place, just like last time. But unfortunately, my father, Bai Lingshang, somehow found out our new address. He walked through the heavy rain toward the high-end community. He's determined to leave me and my mom severely disabled tonight. During that time, I've already killed the twin lords 5 times, but they just keep getting back up instantly, and the resurrected monsters attack me relentlessly. Killing them doesn't give me any more EXP or items. It's just draining my stamina. My top priority now is to find the source of their endless resurrection. I used Flash to instantly appear before Si Wuming. My blade struck its vital point precisely, but its wound healed at a visible rate. It was Ye Wuming behind it, using its healing ability. I'd tried attacking it before, but even after I cut off its head, it healed instantly. This ability is too overpowered. It can resurrect dead monsters and heal its allies instantly. Even S-rank healers aren't this capable. What's empowering it? Or is there a place storing a massive amount of healing energy? While I was distracted, Si Wuming suddenly used Flash. In a flash, it was right beside me. I quickly used my parry skill to deflect the attack. My counter skill activated, reflecting all the physical damage back to the attacker. I never would have guessed that after one short exchange, it would learn my moves. At that moment, Si Wuming uttered 3 words, "You are strong." Then its wounds healed completely once again. But this time, I figured out what was behind it all. A confident smile appeared on my face. The large tree behind Si Wuming is their energy source. Realizing this, I immediately cut off Si Wuming's arm and charged forward. The Lord's healing powers come from this tree, which allows them to affect such a wide area. So, if I destroy these trees, I can finally kill them for good. Instantly, I swung my blade and sliced the large tree in half. Then, I switched my class to Wind Mage and immediately cast Ice. Sea Wooming and Yay Wooming were instantly frozen into ice sculptures. Then, I switched back to Core Warrior. My blade pierced right through Yay Wooming's chest. Just as I thought, once Yay Wooming and the tree fell, they lost all their healing and resurrection abilities. I also received a high-grade item, the Bai Ling Herb, which instantly restores 50% stamina and heals most physical damage. Sea Wooming broke free from the ice, but it no longer posed a threat to me. But, to my complete surprise, Sea Wooming opened its arms. Kill me! I'd never seen a lord do that before. Perhaps with its older brother dead, it no longer wished to live alone. I granted its wish with a single slash, fulfilling its final request. I obtained the high-grade material Poison Sting, a necessary component for crafting the S-rank flower-type weapon Venom Piercer. After this battle, my Core Warrior class reached level D15, and my Wind Mage class reached D13. Also, I've accumulated enough flower-type essence. A new class is about to awaken. Colorful flowers swirled around me. I wondered what color my new class would be. I never expected to awaken the blue-quality Flower Summoner class. But for a Summoner class, the stat requirements aren't that high. I wonder what its main skills are. I immediately opened the status panel. I couldn't believe how overpowered Flower Spirit Contract was. After defeating a flower-type monster, I can form a contract with its soul and make it my servant. I can currently contract 2 targets, and I just happened to defeat 2 flower-type lords. My passive skill, Flower Field, activated, and I could see the souls of Yay Wooming and Sea Wooming. I immediately activated Flower Spirit Contract. I calmly said 2 words, "Stand up." And just like that, the 2 lords became my summoned beasts. To completely escape his abusive father's control, the boy single-handedly conquered all the hidden dungeons. He wanted to be strong enough to kill him the next time they met. He also specially wove a flower-type bracelet for his mother. If she were to face unavoidable danger, the 2 lords within the bracelet would immediately appear to protect her. It turns out I recently awakened a 3rd class, the Flower-type Summoner. Meanwhile, Bai Lingsheng had arrived at the neighborhood gate, but the sudden ringing of his phone stopped him in his tracks. After answering, he heard Chen Jinwu's voice telling Bai Lingsheng to attend Captain Hong's party. Upon hearing the news, Bai Lingsheng immediately turned and left the neighborhood, vowing to make the most of this opportunity. He would prepare a lavish gift for Captain Hong. He wouldn't waste this great chance to rejoin the guild. After hanging up, Bai Lingsheng's face was full of smiles. He sighed, "What a great day." He decided not to look for my mother and me at our new home tonight. Instead, he would go find his own sister to catch up. Just a few minutes later, my mom also arrived at the gate. She happened to see me entering the neighborhood after buying groceries. I quickly walked up to her and held the umbrella over her head. "Let's go home, Mom." Back home, I gave her the flower-type bracelet I had woven. I explained that I went out late to get her a belated Mother's Day gift. Even though Mom couldn't speak, she knew I'd been somewhere dangerous. After dinner, I lay in bed, lost in thought. I currently have 3 classes, a green-type warrior, a blue-type summoner, and a red-type mage. 2 of my combat classes have reached D rank. My newly awakened flower-type summoner is only E rank, but as its level increases, the number of contracts I can make will grow. After advancing, I can contract monsters of any element. But that's still not nearly enough. Bai Lingsheng went to jail on the 21st. It's been 10 days now. He'll be released in another 5 days. But knowing him, it's possible he'll bribe the guards to get out early. That's why I prepared these things in advance, just in case. The next morning, I arrived at another hidden dungeon. I know that hiding won't solve the problem. Before I start my training journey, I need to resolve this once and for all. In just a few hours, I cleared 4 hidden dungeons, but it's still not enough. I can't rest for a moment. I need to raise my class level to C rank as soon as possible. The next time I face Bai Lingsheng, I will be stronger than him. Just then, a system notification appeared.
I had obtained the new title, Lone Wolf Hero. I also received the key of the hero item. After meeting certain conditions, I can unlock the Tower of the Hero. Monday morning arrived in a flash. Miss Huang announced that the final assessment scores were out. Chi Yin and I scored first and second place in the entire school. My combat recording was also sent to headquarters for detailed analysis and was ultimately rated the highest in history. So, Chi Yin and I have qualified for the training journey. And because of my outstanding performance, I will also be granted an audience with the gods. This made many of my classmates incredibly envious. An audience with the gods is an honor that even divine officials might not receive. This was a completely unexpected surprise. I can't believe I'll get to meet them so soon. My best friend, Specs, was genuinely happy for me. I knew you were destined to shine. Meanwhile, in the dean's office, Dean Hong Long asked Hong Chongsheng, "Are you sure you don't want to go? Your dad rarely comes back. You could totally use the excuse of going to headquarters with him to join this trip." Hearing this, Hong Chongsheng immediately refused. He felt that since he only placed third and didn't qualify, he didn't deserve to go. He didn't want people to think he relied on his father for everything. Hearing that, Hong Long couldn't help but smile with satisfaction. He didn't expect Hong Sheng to have such integrity. He also hoped his father could see his growth. Just then, Hong Chongsheng asked Hong Long for a favor, to grant him access to the sealed D-rank dungeon on the back mountain. His reason was simple. He wanted to become stronger on his own. On the other side, in the principal's office, Zi Ling begged his uncle to let him go on the training journey. "I'm the only heir of the Zi family." Principal Zi Yunkang's expression turned serious. Of course he knew Zi Ling was the family's only bloodline, but he couldn't believe he would still act so rashly. During the combat test that day, how could you do such a thing? Powering up a monster to backstab your juniors? At these words, Zi Ling's expression suddenly turned to panic. Before he could explain, the principal slammed his fist on the desk. "Do you think the higher-ups are idiots? That they couldn't see through your clumsy trick? If I hadn't cover for you, do you think you could still stay at this school?" Hearing this, Zi Ling's legs began to tremble uncontrollably. He hurriedly knelt and admitted his mistake, promising it would never happen again. Seeing this, the principal coldly told him to stand up. He explained that Zi Ling's actions had drawn the higher-ups to me, making them suspect something was off.
This is an invitation every student dreams of. Accepting it means your life is set for success. But I've repeatedly rejected the Ultimate Academy's invitation. This piqued the interest of my former teammate. She decided to personally recruit me as the leader. My recent power surge had already raised alarms with the higher-ups. Headmaster Zi Yanqing said my growth curve was too unnatural. So, the God Clan wants to meet with me personally. He also decided to let Zi Lin tag along on this training trip, but only if he behaves himself. Otherwise, he's on his own. Zi Lin beamed, thanking his dear uncle, the headmaster. He secretly planned to make this a trip I'd never forget. And that goes for An Lei, who rejected his invitation to the Ultimate Academy. He swore that one day he'd make her his. Meanwhile, I received my invitation from the Ultimate Academy. My classmates were green with envy. It's the most powerful group in the entire school. Joining them is a fast track into the Divine Guild. Its founder is the school's only golden assassin this year. Normally, students would kill for a chance to join. My best friend, Bowlcut, was moved to tears. He was so proud to have such an amazing friend. I got up and took the invitation in my hand. Then, without hesitation, I threw it in the trash. My classmates couldn't understand why I'd refuse. Why would you throw away such a golden opportunity? I didn't respond, just said I had something to do and left. Bowlcut stared at the invitation in the trash, feeling it was a waste. It was a chance he would never get in his lifetime. The quiet, bespectacled kid suddenly spoke up. "They just don't get Bai Yi. Don't you see? He has no intention of joining anyone's guild. The way he is now, he'll only be a leader." After nightfall, I went to the mountains behind the school alone. Hong Qiangsheng was already waiting at the dungeon entrance. He said he'd secured access to a D-rank dungeon. No one would be coming around this area at night. I nodded slightly, thinking a D-rank dungeon was too hard for him. We should probably start with an E-rank one. Hong Qiangsheng immediately shut me down, telling me to cut the crap. He swore he wouldn't hold me back when the fighting started.
I'd promised to show him combat techniques to get stronger quickly, but my condition was that he get me access to the school's dungeons. I never expected him to get access to all the D-rank ones. Just then, Hong Qiangsheng was knocked down by a monster. I kindly asked if he needed a hand. He immediately told me to get lost, saying he could handle it himself. He then grabbed his dagger and charged the monster again. As I watched, I recalled how I got the hero's key by chance. It's the key to unlocking the hero's tower, but I need a B-rank profession to use it. I've nearly cleared out all the wild dungeons I can find. The school's dungeons are my only way to level up now. The higher your profession level, the more experience you need. After reaching D rank, leveling up slows down a lot. But luckily, there are plenty of monsters, so the experience will be enough. For the next few days, Hong Qiangsheng and I grinded in D-rank dungeons. The Ultimate Academy kept sending invitations every day, but I still had no intention of accepting. After 3 days, Hong Qiangsheng successfully reached D-rank. He remarked that fighting in dungeons was way more fun than being babysat by his family's bodyguards. I finally upgraded my warrior class to C rank, my cloud mage to D19, and my flower summoner to D11. My current stats are more than enough to deal with Bai Lingsheng. And after reaching C rank, I also unlocked a brand new skill. Back at home, my mom gave me a knowing smile and gestured with her hands. She asked if I'd been on a date with a cute girl these past few days. I quickly waved my hands. No way, I'm just a middle schooler. Mom continued gesturing. Then why are you coming home so late? Messing around with your buddies? It's normal to like a girl. If there's someone you care about, you should be brave and go after her. Don't wait until you lose your chance to regret it. Hearing that, my expression turned serious. There was a girl I cared about. She was my teammate in my past life, Anne Lei. Even though she was usually carefree and clingy, she was always incredibly focused during missions. I could trust her with my life without a second thought. But every time we finished a mission, she'd demand a hug, making me blush and run away. It wasn't until we were all betrayed by that man with dreadlocks that I realized no matter how I felt, I'd never once hugged her. In my past life, I only met An Lei after my master saved me from a death cell. We met in the capital of the Shenhe Kingdom. I have no idea where she is now. I doubt I'll ever meet her again in this life. In this new life, I'm the only one with my old memories. Even if we did meet, we probably wouldn't have any connection. But what I didn't know was that we would be meeting very soon. The Ultimate Academy's vice leader messaged An Lei. Leader, Bai Yi still hasn't responded. Guess he's not interested in our group. An Lei saw the message after her shower and smiled. This middle schooler had greatly piqued her interest. She decided to deliver the invitation herself tomorrow.
The young man is celebrating his first ever birthday. While his classmates give him their most precious gifts, the teammate I once fought and died with gives him a surprise attack that shocks the entire school. Turns out, An Lei had decided to deliver the invitations herself. The next morning, I woke up to a gift from my mom. She used sign language to wish me a happy birthday. I'd completely forgotten it was my birthday. My mom's gift was a scarf she'd knitted herself. To my dear son, the card read, may you always be happy and bravely live the life you choose. I was incredibly touched. Still, a scarf seemed odd for summertime. I asked Mom if she knew I was heading to the Holy Kingdom. Mom nodded and signed. The nights get very cold there. You have to take care of yourself. I'll be fine too. My heart skipped a beat. She knew everything I was up to and had been silently supporting me this whole time. Just then, my mom handed me a wad of cash, telling me to treat my best friends to dinner. I sighed, looking at the money. I don't really have any friends. When I got to school after breakfast, I was surprised to find an incredibly detailed figurine on my desk. I'm not into that stuff, so I was confused and didn't recognize the character. Bowlcut excitedly asked what I thought of his gift. He said it was his absolute favorite, but he was giving it to me for my birthday. The kid with glasses came over, saying a figurine was way too tacky. He boasted that his gift was much harder to find. When I looked down, I was stunned. It was an original copy of my favorite movie, Fatal Magic. In my past life, he and I used to sneak into the shed to watch banned old world movies. He quickly whispered for me to hide it so the teachers wouldn't find it. I quickly tucked the movie into my desk and thanked him.
Just then, the class president, Chi Ling, walked over, smiling as she handed me her birthday gift. Bowl Cut and Glasses Kid gasped when they saw it, amazed by her generosity. The gift was an A-rank mage weapon, an illusion gem. I have to admit, I was moved. But the gift was far too valuable, so I tried to give it back. Chi Ling just smiled and told me to keep it. She said if it weren't for me, she couldn't have gone on the training trip. She insisted it wasn't that precious, since her family had more, and besides, it would really help me out. Her words made me think. I really did need to get stronger, so I had no reason to refuse. She must have seen me using a low-level weapon when I switched classes. That's why she gave me the illusion gem. She's incredibly thoughtful. But what touched me the most was that they all remembered my birthday and put so much thought into their gifts. I had planned on leaving quietly without getting attached to anyone, but now, I've thrown that idea away. These three are important to me now. Let's all get dinner tonight. My treat. Are you free? All three immediately shouted yes. Bullcut said he'll pick the spot. Just then, I overheard some students. Why are high schoolers in the middle school wing? Looks like they're coming to our class. The whole floor was buzzing. Apparently, the leader of the ultimate team was coming to personally recruit me. At that, I stood up. Better to turn them down in person. As I stepped out of the classroom, all eyes were on me, including Zi Chen, the guy who tried to take me out. He couldn't figure out what was so special about me that the team leader would come in person. Just then, a surge of electricity shorted out the hallway lights. My eyes widened in shock. That golden electricity, it felt strangely familiar. A bolt of lightning shot through the crowd, racing toward me. I didn't bother dodging. I could tell it was a feint. I summoned my Kunwu blade, sensing the shift in the air. A moment later, another bolt of lightning shot at me from behind. I whipped my blade around to block the sneak attack. It happened so fast, no one could follow the movement. Then I heard a familiar female voice. Impressive reflexes. Looks like I chose the right person after all. I looked up at her, my eyes wide with disbelief. I never imagined the leader of the ultimate team would be Anlei, the woman I fought alongside in my past life. This girl was known throughout school as the strongest awakened, but when the boy first met her, he didn't hesitate to hug her. This made her think I'd agreed to join her school club, but I told her bluntly that joining a school club was pointless. I hoped that in the future she'd join the guild I was forming. You see, I had just discovered that An Li was the club leader. Memories of her from my past life instantly flooded my mind. This energetic and cheerful girl always managed to lighten the mood after every mission. Her outspoken personality often made me blush. Seeing me frozen in place, An Li spoke first. She explained that the Ultimate Club had sent me many invites, but I never responded. So she decided to come visit me in person today. Bullcut and Glasses Boy started whispering. If I reject her invitation to her face, it would be really awkward for her as the leader. An Li then held out her hand and began to introduce herself. But how could I not know who she was? I'd never accepted her hugs in my past life, but this time I didn't hesitate to hug her first. There was so much I wanted to say, but only a few words came out. An Li, long time no see. The sudden hug left An Li stunned. The once noisy hallway fell completely silent. All the students' eyes were fixed on An Li and me. Bullcut was dumbfounded, shocked that I'd just hug her in public. He complained, "Is this some kind of real-life romance between a younger guy and an older woman from different classes?" The class president, Chi Ling, stared, her jaw on the floor. She'd had a bit of a crush on me for a while, but she never imagined I'd be into older women. Glasses Boy quietly explained to Bullcut. An Li was originally in our grade, but she awakened in her first year. She skipped grades and entered high school early, so she's not actually older. Just then, An Li's body transformed into a flash of golden lightning. She then phased right through me in an instant. Does this hug mean you've accepted my invitation? An Li then explained that the Ultimate Club is fully funded by the school.
They'll give me the best resources, and there are much faster ways to get stronger than doing school dungeons after class. We share the goal of getting stronger, and we might even get to fight side by side. I listened patiently to her introduction, but I still said I wouldn't join the Ultimate Club, because I wouldn't be staying at this school for long. Joining a school club is pointless. At this point, I took Anli's hand, claiming I'd be forming my own guild soon. Then we'll naturally have a chance to fight side by side. Just then, a member of the Ultimate Club ran over in a hurry. He informed Anli that Captain Hung had returned to school. The principal wanted the Ultimate Club to go greet him as a group. Hearing this, Anli nodded slightly and let go of my hand. Our training journey will bring us together again soon. We'll talk more then. Why did you say long time no see? With that, Anli and the other club members went to greet Captain Hong. Her departure gave the students something new to talk about. They couldn't believe I'd rejected Anli's invitation to her face. I even invited her to join my own guild. They thought that as a minor, I couldn't possibly have the funds to start a new guild. Even more shocking was the fact that I had just hugged Anli. But Anli didn't seem to mind at all. The crowd's gossip didn't faze me in the slightest, because I had never imagined I would meet Anli like this. In the Guild of Gods, all member information was strictly confidential. We never pried into each other's pasts. So I never thought Anli and I would be at the same middle school. I almost missed this encounter because of it. Still, this was an unexpected birthday surprise.
The father spent his life savings on a pile of extremely expensive magic crystals. He begged the captain to show mercy and let him rejoin the guild. But he didn't realize the man despised bribery above all else. He immediately declared that this scum would never be allowed back in the guild. Unable to control his emotions, the father was completely humiliated. He swore he would kill everyone who looked down on him. And the first person to feel his wrath was the mother who had never wronged him in any way. It turned out that not long ago, Ann Lei and I had a chance reunion. After school, I took Chi Yin and the others to a barbecue place. Four Eyes and Bowl Cut were seriously debating the best way to eat barbecue. Chi Yin then asked if I was serious about starting a guild. She wondered if I'd be staying here long or if I planned to leave after high school. I sipped my drink and gave a slight nod. I do plan on staying in St. Hay Country after my training journey. My answer left the three of them in shock. They wondered if I was planning to drop out and start a business. I explained that I just wanted to continue my studies there. That's why I need to get into the academy every student dreams of, the Divine Arms Academy of St. Hay Country. Meanwhile, at the Kaiban Hotel, a tall man stepped out of a sports car. Li Eng, the vice captain of the inspectorate, quickly bowed in respect. This man was none other than Hong Bing, a captain of the Gods Guild. Inside the hotel, all the dignitaries were engaged in lively conversation. But one person in the crowd made Li Ang's eyes flash with confusion. He never expected to see Bai Lingsheng, who was supposed to be locked up for 15 days, at this party. Li Ang immediately pulled Chen Jinwu aside, demanding to know why Bai Lingsheng was released early. Chen Jinwu rubbed his fingers together and explained that Bai Lingsheng paid double the bail. And besides, the captain himself had approved it. Vice Captain, you should just turn a blind eye to this. Hearing this, Li Ang gritted his teeth in anger. He couldn't believe he was surrounded by such scumbags. He pointed at Bai Lingsheng and asked Chen Jinwu why he'd bring him to Captain Hong's party. Chen Jinwu leaned in and whispered, "You know how it is. He was kicked out of the guild for a minor mistake. This is a rare opportunity, and he wanted to try his luck again. He brought everything he owns just for a chance to get back in. We're just doing him a small favor. It's no big deal." Just as he finished speaking, the magic crystals in Bai Lingsheng's arms were thrown to the ground. Hong Bing's expression turned incredibly dark. He sternly demanded to know who let Bai Lingsheng in. This is a private event for the Gods Guild. What if some stray dog wanders in and leaks our secrets? At his words, Bai Lingsheng's hands began to tremble uncontrollably. The nervous man was about to explain when Hong Bing grabbed him by the collar. "What gives you the right to try and buy your way in with me? Take this useless junk and get out of my sight. From this day on, no one is to let this scum back into the guild. Anyone who disobeys will be kicked out immediately." Those words, like a sharp sword, shattered Bai Lingsheng's last shred of hope. But he never once thought he was in the wrong. He believed fate had been unfair, preventing him from living the life he deserved. An endless rage consumed him, blurring the lines between right and wrong. He would kill anyone who dared to look down on him. How dare some worthless captain humiliate him like this? The people who abandoned and insulted him, they would all become his targets for revenge. A short while later, Bai Lingsheng arrived at my mother's apartment complex. Just then, my mother was returning from grocery shopping. Unaware of the danger, I was still eating at the barbecue place. A group of people entering the restaurant caught my eye. Judging by the emblems on their clothes, it was easy to tell they were members of the Gods Guild. Bowlcut recognized them too and whispered that if we got into the academy, we'd be colleagues with people like them. He sighed, lamenting that this meal felt like a farewell dinner. Chi Yin immediately shot back, saying it didn't have to be. She was going to study hard and get in too. Four Eyes quickly tried to lighten the mood, saying they could worry about that later. Today was Bai Yi's birthday after all. Let's toast to Bai Yi's birthday and a bright future. But my mind wasn't on their conversation at all. I suddenly realized that the day had gone a little too smoothly. I couldn't shake this strange feeling that something was off, but I just couldn't pinpoint what I was missing. At that same moment, my mother's hands trembled as she clutched the response jade on her chest. Her eyes were wide with terror as she watched Bai Lingsheng approach. A terrifying, murderous aura erupted from Bai Lingsheng's entire body. "You wench, you've been living quite well behind my back, haven't you? Did you forget where your home is?" Hearing his voice, my mother started backing away. A deep-seated fear made her entire body tremble. But after everything that had gone wrong, Bai Lingsheng wasn't to back down now. The coward who only preyed on the weak would unleash his rage on the one person who had never wronged him.
To protect my mom from my abusive father, I wove her a floral bracelet for defense. But I never expected his fighting skills were on another level. He took down the Nameless brothers in just a few exchanges. Just as he was about to deliver a fatal blow to my mom, I arrived in time to block it. I've decided to end this ruthless monster myself. Turns out, Bai Lingsheng had run into my mom not long ago and saw the floral bracelet on her wrist. He sternly demanded to know where she got it. Hearing this, my mom instinctively covered the bracelet, terrified he'd snatch away the gift her son gave her. But Bai Lingsheng was clueless. He burst into maniacal laughter, assuming my mom had a new lover who could afford such a nice house. Overwhelming frustration shattered what little pride he had left. He threw a massive punch at my mom, but in that critical moment, the floral bracelet suddenly erupted with a green light. Two figures shot out from it, catching Bai Lingsheng's heavy fist. These figures were the Nameless brothers I had made a pact with, sworn to protect my mom. Mom was stunned. She never imagined the bracelet I gave her was a life-saving treasure. No wonder she was so careful to wear it when I wasn't around. Si Wuming roared and charged forward, his powerful fists pounding Bai Lingsheng. Ye Wuming provided support, constantly healing Si Wuming while watching for any surprise attacks on my mom. After a few rounds, it was clear Bai Lingsheng was no match for Si Wuming. He hastily retreated, blood dripping from his chest, but he felt no fear. As a red-tier lightning warrior, he hadn't had a real fight in a long time. The Nameless brothers were the perfect outlet for his rage. Meanwhile, I was at a barbecue restaurant with Chi Yin and the others. I stared at the responding jade in my hand as a sense of unease washed over me. I told them something came up and I had to leave for a bit but would be back soon. I'd already paid so they could order whatever they wanted. I left and called Hong Changsheng from an alley. I asked if he was sure Bai Lingsheng was out of prison early. Hong Changsheng confirmed it. He'd even gone to his father's party but was kicked out. After leaving the hotel, he disappeared. Hearing this, my expression grew grim. Cold sweat dripped down my face. I frantically tried to call my mom, but the call wouldn't go through. Did she not have her phone? That hotel is right near our apartment. I jumped on my bike and rushed home. If Bai Lingsheng ran into mom there, he definitely wouldn't let it go. With his personality, he's capable of anything. Even if this was just a guess, I couldn't risk my mom's safety. There was no room for error. I left the nameless brothers with my mom, but their levels are too low. They can't last long. And just as I feared, a fully engaged Bai Lingsheng defeated Si Wuming in just a few rounds. Seeing this, Ye Wuming quickly shielded my mom, glaring fiercely at Bai Lingsheng. But Bai Lingsheng had already figured out its main ability was healing, making it an easy kill. Then his eyes widened in surprise. The fallen Si Wuming was still clinging to his leg. Bai Lingsheng has zero tolerance for the weak. He grabbed Si Wuming by the neck and stabbed it all over with his dagger. In Bai Lingsheng's eyes, Si Wuming was now Hung Bing, the one who humiliated him, a punching bag for him to vent on. The brutal scene filled my mom with terror, and she began to tremble uncontrollably. Soon, Bai Lingsheng finished off Si Wuming. He locked his vicious gaze on my mom and slowly walked toward her, radiating killing intent. Ye Wuming knew it was no match. Fear spread through its body, but it had sworn to protect my mom to the death and would fight to the very end. It lunged forward, using its entangle skill and yelling for mom to run and not look back. His shout brought tears to my mom's eyes. I had once said the same words to her. The ultimate goal was to keep her from harm. Mom choked back her sorrow, turned and fled, knowing she had to save herself to honor the brother's sacrifice. Bai Lingsheng was now completely encased in vines, but suddenly a surge of energy swelled from within. In the blink of an eye, he broke free, tearing off Ye Wuming's limbs. Then he warped in front of my mom. "Where do you think you're going? Tell me, where can you run?" As he spoke, he snatched the responding jade from my mom's neck. "Did that bastard give you this too?" he roared, then crushed the jade in his hand. He let out a beastly roar, raising his dagger to plunge it into my mom's chest. At that moment, my mom froze, remembering what I had once told her. "If you're ever in danger, crush this jade pendant. The moment it shatters, I'll be there." The next second, I appeared in front of my mom, catching the blade with my bare hand. I made my promise. I made it in time to stop the tragedy, and now I will personally end Bai Lingsheng's violent rampage. To get rid of my father for good, I'm no longer hiding the power of my 3 awakened classes. I took the upper hand in our first real fight. He may be an experienced fighter with immense power, but his arrogance is his fatal flaw. That's why I'm confident I can crush him. Not long ago, I'd arrived just in time to save my mother. The haunting memories came flooding back, a tragedy I can never forget. Chained up, all I could do was watch helplessly as my father, Bai Lingsheng, beat my mother. They were supposed to be a loving couple, but there was no pity in Bai Lingsheng's eyes. He brought the club down on her again and again. As he raised the bat for another powerful swing, I screamed through my tears, begging him to stop, but I couldn't stop what was coming. My mother lay in a pool of her own blood, no longer breathing. This tragedy took place on the first weekend of my freshman year. Mom took me to an amusement park for the day, but she forgot to tell Bai Lingsheng. We got home late. That day, he had failed to find a job. He came home and took all his frustration out on us. That was the day the demon inside him was finally unleashed. I broke the chains and rushed to my mother, wailing. The shock of witnessing it all triggered my second advancement. My original green tier core warrior class instantly evolved into the platinum tier core paladin. The death of my mother made me lose control. All I wanted was to destroy everything around me. I broke free of my chains and moved behind Bai Lingsheng faster than the eye could see. In an instant, I killed my father, the red tier lightning assassin. But even then, my mother was gone for good. I hated myself for not being strong enough to protect her. I hated that I hadn't pushed myself to break my limits sooner. If I had, maybe this tragedy could have been avoided. Now that I've been reborn, I won't be a second too late ever again. With that thought, I crushed Bai Lingsheng's dagger with my bare hand. I won't let this damn monster get anywhere near my mother. My father's eyes filled with murderous intent. He roared and lunged at me with his dagger. He was determined to kill us both today. Seeing this, I remained calm and summoned my Kunwu blade. My parry skill activated instantly. Not only did it nullify the attack, but it also reflected all the physical damage back at him. Bai Lingsheng flew back like a kite with its string cut. He dug his hands into the ground to stop himself. Taking the full force of his own attack, he coughed up blood. He never expected his worthless son to fight back. What surprised him even more was that the Kunwu blade, which he'd backstabbed his own teammates to get, was now in my hands. Meanwhile, the Nameless brothers had already fully healed thanks to their powerful regeneration. As long as I'm alive, they can be revived indefinitely. I ordered the Nameless brothers to protect my mother and get her to safety. I'll handle things here. My words clued Bai Lingsheng in. He realized the plant-type monsters he was summons. He couldn't believe I was a rare dual elementalist. At that thought, Bai Lingsheng burst out laughing. Awakening 2 classes at such a young age? Excellent! Truly, you are my son. His words meant nothing to me. I've never considered him my father. He's just a monster who can't control his emotions and preys on the weak. Bai Lingsheng slowly walked towards me. He claimed that inheriting his talent wasn't enough. Moving out without a word, going through his safe, even sending his own father to prison. Any one of those 3 things was unforgivable to him. So no matter what talents I had to die by his hand today. Just then, Bai Lingsheng vanished, leaving only a streak of red lightning. My mother, protected by the Nameless brothers, saw this and cried out, trying to warn me. But this time, I wasn't scared. I immediately switched my class to Cloud Mage. In an instant, the entire path before me was frozen solid. Bai Lingsheng couldn't continue his charge. He was completely stunned, wondering where the ice came from. Did my son awaken more than just 2 elements? I slowly walked towards him as he stared in confusion. My eyes filled with contempt. He was unworthy of the title of father. To him, a dual-class user might be the strongest there is. I told him the number of classes I've awakened has nothing to do with him, because now, in my eyes, he's completely worthless. Bai Lingsheng slowly walked towards me. He claimed that inheriting his talent wasn't enough. Moving out without a word, going through his safe, even sending his own father to prison. Any one of those 3 things was unforgivable to him. So no matter what talents I had to die by his hand today. Just then, Bai Lingsheng vanished, leaving only a streak of red lightning. My mother, protected by the Nameless brothers, saw this and cried out, trying to warn me. But this time, I wasn't scared. I immediately switched my class to Cloud Mage. In an instant, the entire path before me was frozen solid. Bai Lingsheng couldn't continue his charge. He was completely stunned, wondering where the ice came from. Did my son awaken more than just 2 elements? I slowly walked towards him as he stared in confusion. My eyes filled with contempt. He was unworthy of the title of father. To him, a dual-class user might be the strongest there is. I told him the number of classes I've awakened has nothing to do with him, because now, in my eyes, he's completely worthless. My father only ever used violence to assert his dominance in the family. Now, he's completely crushed, unable to even fight back. He bows and begs for my forgiveness, promising never to hurt me or my mother again. But how could I spare a monster who revels in violence? I must use this blade to deliver his death sentence. Just a short while ago, I told Bai Lingsheng he was worthless to me. Hearing this, Bai Lingsheng let out a chilling, sinister laugh. He saw me as nothing more than a newly awakened fledgling, no match for a hardened veteran like him. That was enough. He unleashed his elemental power, shattering the ice that bound him. Seeing this, I instantly summoned my Kunwu blade and launched a surprise attack with a swift strike. Bai Lingsheng quickly crossed his arms to block the blow, but I had already anticipated his move. As I withdrew my blade, I shifted into the army breaker stance. The blade shot forward like a hornet stinger, aimed straight for his chest. Seeing the blade pierce his chest, Bai Lingsheng's face went pale. If he hadn't grabbed the hilt in time, it would have gone straight through his heart. Without a second thought, I yanked the blade out, inflicting a second wound. Clutching his chest, Bai Lingsheng collapsed to his knees. He couldn't understand how a mere E-rank awakened could possess such power and tactical skill. I didn't answer his question. My ice-cold gaze looked down on the defeated man. I told him, from this day on, we are no longer father and son, and Mom has nothing to do with you either. From this moment on, Bai Lingsheng is nothing to me. Hearing this, Bai Lingsheng clutched his chest and let out a cold laugh. His laughter grew louder and louder until the entire neighborhood could hear it. He looked up and furiously questioned me. Who was it that worked so hard to earn money? Who was it that did everything to support this family? From the moment you were born, you were my son, and that's a fact that will never change. With that, Bai Lingsheng leaped, clawing for my head. He wanted to teach his ungrateful son a lesson. I immediately jumped and kicked him square in the face. Bai Lingsheng bounced across the ground like a deflated ball. The moment he scrambled to his feet, I was already in front of him. In a panic, Bai Lingsheng threw a punch, but I easily dodged it with a turn of my head and countered with a heavy blow to his face. The powerful hit left him dazed and confused, but I had no intention of stopping there. All the suffering my mother and I endured over the years was channeled into every punch that landed on his body. He couldn't understand. He was a red-grade lightning assassin, and he was even a C rank. How could he be so utterly powerless against me? I grabbed him by the hair and gave him his answer. Didn't you hear me? You're no match for me. For decades, you've used violence again and again, using your strength to assert dominance at home. Because you're too cowardly to face anyone stronger than you. You're just a weak, pathetic piece of trash, absolutely worthless garbage. You don't deserve to be a father. You don't even deserve to be called a man. With that, I lifted Bai Lingsheng's head with one hand, and with all my might, I slammed it into the ground. This was the first time my mother had ever seen me consumed by rage. Her eyes were filled with shock and heartache. She knew the gentle side of me I had always shown her. Pinned to the ground, Bai Lingsheng let out a weak voice. He said that no matter what, he was still the one who raised me, and that I should show some filial piety. The word family only fueled my rage, because he, Bai Lingsheng, is the last person who has any right to talk about family. I roared at him. Did you think about family when you beat me and Mom? When I was 7, you grabbed me by the ear and slammed my head against the wall again and again. Helpless, my mother could only beg him to stop. I kept pleading with him not to hit me again. I'll never make a mistake again. But even after he tore my ear, he didn't stop. How many times has Mom suffered his abuse over the years? Ever since I was born, my mother has had to go to the hospital every month. If the food wasn't to his liking, he'd hit her. If she didn't do what he wanted, he'd hit her. Even if he just came home in a bad mood, he'd take it out on her. As long as that monster was around, my mother and I never had a single normal day. As I said this, I ground his head into the pavement again. My eyes burned with hatred. Talking to me about family now is just disgusting. A monster like you doesn't deserve to have a family. My words were like daggers, piercing Bai Lingsheng's soul. He struggled to push himself up. His voice trembling, he apologized to me. He said he knew he was wrong and would never do it again. He begged me to spare his miserable life. He apologized over and over. But in my eyes, he wasn't sorry for what he'd done. He was just afraid of dying. It was the same in my past life. When he realized he couldn't beat me, he started crying and begging for mercy. But just when I thought he had truly repented, he grabbed a knife and charged at me without hesitation. Someone who would raise a weapon against his own family can never be trusted to stop.
The intense emotions caused my adrenaline to surge. My ultimate skill, one-sided Pure Land, evolved in that moment into two-sided Judgment. And with this Kunwu blade in my hand, I will deliver my final judgment upon this tyrant.
To completely stop my abusive father from ever approaching my mother again, I didn't hesitate to personally sever his tendons. But just as I was about to end his life, my mother, who had been mute for years, suddenly told me to stop. She couldn't bear to see me become a monster like him. So I used my ultimate skill, Bisection Judgment, to completely strip him of his awakened power and leave him helpless. My ultimate skill had recently evolved into Bisection Judgment. I've learned it's better to ensure a sinner can't commit another crime than to hope for their repentance. I immediately summoned my elemental power, unleashing countless blades of energy, and at incredible speed began slicing into Bai Lingxing's flesh. But I wasn't aiming for a quick kill. I cut his tendons, leaving him unable to resist. Bai Lingxing collapsed, begging me to calm down and spare his father's life. Hearing the word father only fueled my rage. How dare he speak of family to me? I immediately switched my class to Cloud Mage, conjuring ice to seal his filthy mouth shut. He already died at my hands in my previous life. What's to stop me from doing it again? But just then, I heard a familiar voice. It was filled with worry, begging me to stop. I scanned the area for the source. It was a woman's voice. When I looked toward my mom, I realized Ye Wuming was using his ability to transmit her voice to me. Her eyes were filled with worry. She didn't want me to become a monster like Bai Lingxing. Bai Lingxing has already lost everything he was proud of. For the rest of his life, he'll live with regret and bitterness. That is his greatest punishment. Hearing this, my anger began to subside. But Bai Lingxing is still an unpredictable threat. I refuse to let my mother face even the slightest risk. My mom knew everything I was doing was for her, but she didn't want to see her cheerful son become the next Bai Lingxing, forced to live in the shadows. In my previous life, I was sent to prison after killing Bai Lingxing. Staring at the sunlight through the bars filled me with so many emotions. I don't regret my decision, but a voice inside told me it was the wrong choice. And now I finally know the right answer. I promised Mom I wouldn't kill Bai Lingxing, but he'll never get near us again. I immediately channeled elemental power into my blade. I unleashed my ultimate skill, Bisection Judgment. When used on a near-death enemy, it releases all accumulated power. It can completely cripple an enemy of the same level or lower. In an instant, the cross-shaped slash struck Bai Lingxing. Wisps of red energy could be seen dissipating from his body. With that, I destroyed Bai Lingxing's awakened powers. From this day forward, he's no longer a professional. I told him to leave this city tomorrow and stay away from my mother forever. I'd already had Ye Wuming memorize his scent. If he ever comes within 3 kilometers of my mother, even if I have to spend my life in the Awaken's prison, I'll hunt him down and kill him without mercy. At my words, Bai Lingxing stared blankly at the night sky and promised he'd never bother my mother and me again. Later, Mom and I returned home. Si Wuming acted as a nanny and started cleaning carefully, while I had Ye Wuming treat my mom's injuries. While cleaning, Si Wuming gave me a wink, letting me know Bai Lingxing hadn't harmed our mom at all. I let out a huge sigh of relief and knelt by my mother's side. Thank goodness I got there in time. The consequences would have been unthinkable. Mom smiled warmly and told me she was fine. She said no one would ever bother us again. But I was still uneasy. I'd have to find a way to get another Jadestone later. As I was thinking, I suddenly looked up in shock. Mom's face also showed a surprised expression. My mother, who had been mute for years, had just spoken. It wasn't telepathy, it was her real voice, coming from her own mouth. It turns out this was all thanks to Ye Wuming. He discovered her speech system was malfunctioning due to minor nerve damage from a past trauma, so he stepped in and healed her. For the next few days, I continued to train hard. Ye Wuming asked if I really couldn't stay here. Leaving now means saying goodbye to my mom and friends for good. I gave a small smile and nodded. I'd already paid the rent in advance. Once I have enough money, I'll buy the house. I also prepared a new jade pendant for my mom. If she's ever in danger again, I'll be back in an instant. But most of the time, I'll have to rely on the Wooming brothers to look after her. My mom knows I'm going on a journey to train, but what she doesn't know is I'm no longer the son she remembers. I carry a burden of hatred that I must confront. Now I have a ticket to the Sacred Hat Kingdom. That man is there. This is my best chance for revenge. I can reach the Sacred Hat Kingdom much earlier than in my last life, but I don't know if I'll succeed, or if I'll even make it back alive. This might just be a one-way ticket, but it's a ride I have to take. Just then, my mom's expression turned to shock. I quickly asked her what was wrong. Mom explained that it was time for the prayer festival. Every year, on the first full moon of the summer, the Archmage of the Flower God Temple returns to Chushi County. Hearing that, I finally remembered. My mom is a devout follower of the Flower God sect. She never asked, and I never told her, that tomorrow is the day I leave. But this is for the best. I'll just leave quietly, because the one thing I'm worst at is saying goodbye to someone's face.